So there are daily different viruses, trojans, malwares going ahead and getting updated. Previously it only ran on computers. Nowadays it even works on Android or your iPhone, even the Windows platform. So you need to know each and everything, and when you are going ahead and gathering information, let's say you are a penetration tester and an organization has hired you, so you need to make sure that you use each and everything up to that you have under your pocket, inside your pocket, to go ahead and try to penetrate this organization, because that is your aim. You need to know, you need to think from a malicious hacker's point of view as to how would they try to gain access. And it's not just by typing codes or going ahead and, let's say, writing trojans or backdoors or trying to penetrate the firewall, because which would be quite hard if you ask me, because just go you cannot we are not Bill Gates or, let's say, Steve Jobs to go, or even Aiden PS or something like that, to go ahead and write some extreme codes that could go ahead and penetrate the Cisco firewalls or something. So that does not happen in our day-to-day life as you see in the movies. To go for, if we need to go ahead and penetrate an organization, Kali Linux is the best for operating system that I have ever come through to go ahead and gather in my whole life. So you can go ahead and even write your own, let's say, programs, be it in C or Python or whichever language you want, and you can just go ahead and target it to a specific person or an organization. So yes, that's how it is. So to start with, I would like to tell you that if some person has hired you for going ahead and, let's say, you might be thinking that how will I go ahead and penetrate someone's organization if I write some Trojan, but that is I'm not able to penetrate through the firewall, or I'm not able to get the specific IP address. Then how do I go ahead and how can someone, a malicious hacker, can go ahead and get into an organization's system? Then at that point of time there comes something which is called as social engineering. Social engineering is a type of con that you go ahead and con into someone to gain information, and any kind of information. It does not require what information is that. So in this tutorials that I would be teaching, I will be telling you some case studies in between as to how there were some penetration testers who went ahead and gathered some information through the clients itself, and they didn't even knew that they were giving out some important information, and then they went ahead and hacked into their personal systems and told them that these are the ways that any kind of hacker go ahead and get your access into your organization. So that is what ethical hacking is. And after that, there are footprinting and reconnaissance, that you need to go ahead and gather information, which operating system the people are using, let's say what they are working on exactly, what kind of firewall they are, which antivirus they are using, and loads of stuff. After that, we need to scan networks as to which IP address they are, again, which IP address they have, what are, let's say, what are the sources of IP address, between which range are they exactly, things like that. After that, we need to go into system hacking, trojans, backdoors. We need to know what viruses and worms can do. And when we talk about viruses, virus, worms, trojans, backdoors, malwares, these are all different things. There are multiple types of viruses, like polymorphic virus, or you can go ahead and take something like, let's say, the Trojan, which is the most famous and the dangerous one, because you don't actually know what it is doing in the background and what information it has already given out. That's the reason. And viruses and worms normally go ahead and destroy your computer, whereas Trojans and backdoors give out your information from your computer to someone else. So at some point of time, virus and worms, I am not saying that they are good enough, but they are not the worst part, because okay, fine, my system is damaged and they have corrupted all these firewall or something, so you know what is happening. But in case of Trojans, you don't actually know. So in this tutorial, in these tutorials that I would be teaching, I will also teach you something about forensics that would help you gather much information about how it works actually, and how you can go ahead and check if someone has used a Trojan to go ahead and get access to your computer, to view event logs, to view which all permissions were given out by your system, not only on your computers or your laptops, but also with your PDAs, your tablets, or with your cell phones, especially Android, because Android runs Linux, and it is one of the most you can say as vulnerable out there, unless you know what you're doing with Linux. You can also secure that, but finally it comes to social engineering. If someone tries to con you and insert some kind of malicious program in your cell phone, then no one can help you out. And there's a famous saying that instead of me telling you, I'll just go ahead and show it out to you on Google. I'll just go and type social engineering, and why social engineering is much more important in ethical hacking. I'll let you know, because let's say you can go ahead and patch a software, or you can go ahead and create a software, or even sometimes impenetrable software. But let's say thousands and or you can say lakhs of people are working on some kind of let's say a software. You can understand that one single person cannot go ahead and penetrate or try to find a specific vulnerability where 1,000 people have helped to create a specific software or any antivirus. So but there is one thing which is vulnerable to everything, that is human nature, and at that point of time social engineering comes in between. I'll show you a famous quote as to what social engineering is. Let me just go ahead and open this out. Okay, as you can see over here, that social engineering is the clever manipulation of natural human tendency to trust. So, and this is my favorite part over here. You can see social engineering is the best because there's no patch for human stupidity, and that is true. If you're thinking about softwares, you can patch them, you can give out or shell out security patches to them, or you can go ahead and secure them at one point of time. But as of humans, you cannot. There are different types of ways in which you can go ahead and gather information, and the person who is standing in front of you, who is giving you out the information, won't even know that he is giving out information. So there are several ways. I'll let you know each one by one everything in these tutorials, starting with everything. So the first topic that we would be getting into would be the introduction to ethical hacking, how it works and how it is different from movies, and what important things are that you need to consider when you are trying to gain information. And you need to set up your own lab before you go ahead and try to gain access to anything. And yes, after that there comes enumeration, sniffing, denial of service attacks, session hijacking, hacking web servers, web cameras, web applications, SQL injections, and even you can also go ahead and penetrate into, let's say, wireless applications such as WEP or WPA, WPA2 PSK, Wi-Fi modules, then hacking mobile platforms, evading honeypots, firewalls, buffer overflows, then going ahead and finally into cryptography and forensics as to how we can go ahead and gather them. So there are specific, let's say, courses out there on ethical hacking as well. But if you need to keep yourself updated, then you don't only need to go ahead and gather information by looking on the web. You need to go ahead and try it out on your own computers before you can go down and try out on someone else's. So these are things that are important, and in the next tutorial I'll be starting with the main, that is what is ethical hacking and stuff. So that is it for this tutorial. Have a nice day ahead. Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing. So in this specific course that I would be teaching, I would be mainly concentrating on Kali Linux. Besides, if you have some prerequisites like basic fundamentals of Linux, or if you know what programming is, or if you have at least done some basic programming stuff like C, or even better, the least easiest programming language that I think would be Python. So even if you have the basics in that, this would be much more easier for you. So before I start with any of this process, I'd like to ask one question, that what is ethical hacking? If you are talking about as to getting into someone's or invading someone's privacy, that is not called as ethical hacking. It's just hacking, and hacking can never be ethical. So hacking means to go ahead and gain someone's personal information, and if you define the term as ethical hacking, then ethical means doing it for the right purpose. But when you are going ahead and invading someone's privacy, that cannot be considered as ethical, no matter what good you are trying to do. So at that point of time, there was a time when there were a lot of people computer in 1990s, and the computers were just came into existence. Google just came into existence. People did not knew much about using computers, and there were people who used to run programs, and there were con artists who used to call people, gather information about their computers or bank accounts over the phone. And at that point of time, the government thought that yes, there is a need for some countermeasure, so that these people who go ahead and create some kind of, let's say, chaos or try to cheat people, there needs to be some way so that they can be tackled with. So at that point of time, the government came in, this kind of ethical hacking came into existence, and they defined this term as ethical hacking. So to start with, just before I proceed, let me tell you that ethical hacking is not only necessary for, let's say, for your studies or to go ahead and get some, let's say, to get a job in a company. If you're just doing this for getting a job in a company, then let me tell you that it's not that easy. And even if by the time you see this course may become a bit outdated, because to be in process to gain information about ethical hacking, what I could do in this tutorial is that I can go ahead and give you the latest updates that I have, but this is as for today. And after 1 week there may be new updates, there may be more 0-day vulnerabilities, and there may be more different kinds of trojans that I won't be able to secure you from now on. So, and just before I proceed, I would like to tell you that this is just for educational purpose only, and anything that would be used for doing malicious purpose, I won't take any responsibilities for that, or even my company. So to start with, yeah, that's how it is. So in this whole tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing, I would teach you what ethical hacking is, footprinting reconnaissance, that means gathering information from different places. Then we need to go ahead and scan the networks, the IP addresses, the WHOIS, the domain names, and we need to go ahead and get into systems. So getting into a system is far different from what we see in movies. It's not like we can just go ahead and, if you see some movies like, let's say, The Matrix, which was very famous, or if you go ahead and see the Hackers movie, or if you see any movie in which they show that, okay, this guy is a hacker, so you can see them that they just go ahead, type some random stuff into computers or cell phones, and yes, it is hacked. But no, in reality, that is far away from different. It's not that interesting that you just go ahead and get some terminals like this, the one I have on my screen, and you just go ahead and type in some stuff, and yes, you can go to hack. No, it does not work like that. You need to go ahead and gather information about your specific target, each and everything, from his personal life to his background, what he did, to his history, what he did, to what he is current, what he likes, what he does not. Yes. Because ethical hacking is a term which consists of gathering information and exploiting them on your target. But ethical hacking is not only to save yourself or your customer to whom you would go and save from getting, let's say, getting indicted from the specific hacker. It's also about attacking them. So you might be thinking that why do we need to attack someone? If you go ahead and try to penetrate someone else's organization, then it is unethical, right? Yes, that is unethical. But if you get the permission, then it is not. So there are some, not some, I can say there most of the organizations allow penetration testing on their firms. The reason being that they need to know that if there are some hackers out there, and so how could they go ahead and save themselves from them? So they go ahead and authorize a penetration tester, someone like me or someone like you, who would become after going through this whole project of mine. So once you go through this project, you will become some kind of an ethical hacker, but you need to keep yourself updated, and you need to go ahead and practice continuously, and there is no actually stop for this ethical hacking. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in this tutorial we will be learning about the installation and configuration of Kali Linux, and we'll also learn about what actually ethical hacking is and why is it actually called as ethical, and what are the different types of attacks that can be done and how we could do to prevent it. So before I proceed, because that would be a long conversation, so before I proceed with that, let's just go ahead and start something in the background that would be useful to us, since that would take a very long time. And what I'm talking about right now is installation of Kali Linux. So one thing we need to keep in mind is that I can also go ahead and install this directly on my operating system, but that is not what I would do, since I assume that you are just a beginner with the Linux. I won't ask you to go and install the whole operating system on your PC or your laptop. The reason being that if you don't know what you're doing and if you just try to play with it, then unnecessarily you will be in a lot of trouble. That is the reason. You don't know how the system works. For example, let's say I've been working on a Windows machine since, let's say, around past 7 or 8 years maybe, and since I'm working since past 7 or 8 years, I know how exactly it works. Let's say, for example, I know why there are system files over here and what each and every system file mean. Like say I can go into Windows system 32 file, and I know that if I delete either of the programs, what will happen. So these are the driver store for my drivers and group policy users, so I know what is what exactly. But if you're a new person, if you're just a noob and if you're trying to go ahead and try to run the Kali Linux on your whole PC, the first thing that might happen is that it may not get installed, because maybe sometimes your laptops are not bootable, not dual bootable. I'm not really not dual bootable, but there are some specifications set by Microsoft nowadays which are crackable, but by the time you listen to this video, I don't know if something else comes in, so then you might not be able to dual boot or be able to single boot Kali Linux. The reason being that there is something that is UEFI set by the Microsoft, which only allows you to install the Microsoft Windows 8 or any newer version, 8.1 or similar versions. So that is the reason why I won't be asking you, until unless you are an expert in dual booting or installing systems, until unless you are not a system administrator, don't go ahead and mess with this, because it can actually go ahead and create a hell lot of problems for you. That's the reason. So that's the reason I would be asking you to go ahead and run it on your VMware workstation. I have the workstation 9. I have not yet updated it. There are workstation 10 and 11, I believe. And the workstation is, can say you need to go ahead and buy the workstation, but if you want something similar to that, you can use VirtualBox. If you don't want to unnecessarily go ahead and spend your money, you can go ahead and download the VirtualBox, which I'll just go ahead and show it to you. And you can go over here. This is the VirtualBox, and in case just you don't know what VirtualBox is and what Kali Linux is, Kali Linux is based on Debian, and it is an operating system which has loads and loads of penetration testing tools. Okay, before I proceed, let me check if my system is working perfectly. Okay, perfect. Advanced, proceed, save. Now it should work, I believe. Okay, perfect. So we are here, the VirtualBox. So you can see that VirtualBox runs on Windows, Linux, Macintosh, Solaris host, and a lot of other operating systems. And I assume that you are installing it under your Windows, so that's the reason I asked you VirtualBox. If you're running it under Macintosh, then you can surely go ahead and use the VMware player, VMware is also as good as VirtualBox, but I support VMware. But the only thing is that you need to go ahead and spend your money if you're trying to buy a workstation. If it's just a player, just a single machine, then you can straight away go ahead and use the player. Okay, so if you want to download, you can go ahead and check the downloads option over here, and you have it for different versions of Windows, for 64 as well as 32-bit versions. And as of in my system, I have an 8 GB RAM, so that's the reason I would be going ahead and using the 64-bit version. So you can go ahead and download it, everything from here. And besides, you also need to go and install the VMware tools or VirtualBox tools, whatever they have inside them. I am not much in concern with VirtualBox because I hardly use it, or I don't even use it sometimes. The most thing which I use is the VMware. So I'll just go ahead and close, and just in case, you can also go ahead and download the VMware. I'll go ahead and show it to you. And yes, so this is VMware. It's just a virtualization platform that goes ahead and converts your that means you can go ahead and run a computer inside a computer, an operating system inside an operating system. So what I would do is that, let's say if I have a 6 or 8 GB RAM in my laptop or computer, then I can just go ahead and run this and assign 2 GB of its memory to my Linux or either of the operating systems. And the best part of Kali Linux is that it even runs in as less as 512 MB RAM. That's its best part. But I suggest that you should not run it in a 512 MB RAM. The reason being that if you're trying to go ahead and crack passwords or password hashes using that, it will be quite difficult for you because it requires a graphic card and a good processor to go ahead and run that. So since you are just learning Kali Linux and these are the basics for that, I'm only going to teach you how to install and do the basic stuff over there, so that once you are completely sure that you know what you're doing and the basic Linux commands and what kernels are and how to hack into them, only then I'll suggest you to go ahead and install the whole operating system so that you can go ahead and mess with anything you want and you will still be knowing what you're doing. So to come back, I'll just go ahead and show you over here. You can go to downloads version. We have vSphere over here, but we would be needing the VMware, so you can go ahead and check over here. These are for okay, so here it is, VMware player. Perfect. So I'll just go ahead and open that. So these are the two versions, one for Microsoft Windows and one for Linux, and these are 64-bit versions. If you want, you can go back and check, and you will find the normal means 32-bit versions as well, and these are compatible, so you have the drivers and tools for them and open source, just in case you are using Linux. And you might be wondering that if you are using Macintosh, then what can you do? So if you are using Macintosh, then you can go ahead and download the VMware Fusion, and I'll just go ahead and open this. And okay, sorry, this was the VMware Fusion. Perfect. And just in case you want to buy, you can also go ahead and buy the workstation. Workstation is far more better than the VMware, the normal VMware. The reason being that workstation goes ahead and you can go ahead and connect two virtual machines at one time only. So that's far better, but you can do the same thing in VirtualBox and without spending any kind of money. So, but I support VMware because it has an extended support. That's the reason. So yes, you can go ahead and download these over here. These are for Mac and these are for the Windows. So yes, you can go ahead and download them. So once you have downloaded virtual VMware, you can just go ahead and click next, and it's quite easy. You don't actually have to do anything. Just go ahead and double click on the installer file, and once you have installed, you will see this VMware workstation. If you are using let's say VirtualBox, then I won't be able to help you, but there is quite a suitable topic I can show you if you don't know how to install it. How to install VirtualBox. Perfect. You can see over here there are images, and just to be precise, if you don't know how to install a VirtualBox, I don't even think that you should be learning this tutorial. The reason being that installing these programs are much easier than going ahead and learning this. So once you have installed these things, there are specific you can say as ways as to how they have given how you can go to install that. So once you have installed, I assume that you have the VMware. After that, we need to go ahead and download the Kali Linux, so I'll just go ahead and download the Kali Linux, and I'll just go ahead and open it over here. And just to be clear that once you're using Kali Linux, there may be a lot of bugs because previously this was known as Backtrack when it started. And after on, they later got converted. They stopped at Backtrack 5, and they started distributing Kali Linux because it's much better than the Backtrack version, as this is based on Debian. And you can see over here that this Kali Linux even works on cell phones such as Nexus 5, Nexus 6, or even the previous versions. As you can see, Kali Linux Net Hunter on these devices. And you can also install it on your Raspberry Pi, Odroid, Qbox, and a lot of other things. So in these are the penetration testing tutorials. You can also go ahead and search them in case you don't understand this. And to download the Kali Linux, you can go over here. These are the SA1 sum file. Just go ahead and check them if you're unable to go and download a proper file. And these are the proper versions of downloading. Mini means you just have to go ahead and again install everything once you have downloaded this file. And as of me, I would be using the 32-bit version of Kali Linux since I am going to install it in a VMware. And you can go ahead and download these over here. There are torrent options as well as ISO. And once you go ahead and download them, these are the latest version 1.1.0a, the same version which I would be using. Just let me check before I... Okay, perfect. 1.1.0, and that's what I would be using. Perfect. And once I have downloaded that, we would need one more thing. Since I assume that you have at least 4 GB of RAM to run this, because yeah, either you have 4 GB of RAM, or you should install the whole of Kali Linux under your operating system if you have 2 GB of RAM or less. The reason I'm saying that is because we are going to run a total of 3 operating systems. That is the main host, that means this whole operating system. Inside that we are going to run Kali Linux over here, and we are also going to run Windows 7, because we are going, the Windows 7 will be our target machine, and Kali Linux will be our main machine, attacker's machine, through which we would be going ahead and attacking the Windows 7. And the Windows 7 version which I would be using right now, it would be the first one, and I won't be using the Service Pack 1 activated. Service Pack 1, the reason being that you can say it as, let's say, it is you can also go ahead and install Service Pack 1. The only reason I'm using is because I don't have it, and I would just recommend that you don't go ahead and start the Defender. If you have it, it's not a problem, but I would suggest turning off the Defender, since I assume that you are just a noob who is going to learn through these tutorials. And if you're using a Defender, a Windows Defender on, if you're keeping that on, then there might be a different way to go ahead and, let's say, penetrate that particular operating system. So that's the reason I'm not going to teach you how to go ahead and bypass the Windows Defender. So yes, so when you have all of these 3 things, after that we can go ahead and start with the installation and configuration of our operating systems. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in the previous tutorial I showed you from where we could go ahead and download Kali Linux and the specific operating system that I would need, and the VMware workstation. And if you want, you can also go ahead and use Windows XP or Vista. That is what most people use, but I would suggest going ahead and downloading Windows 7 as well. If you don't want to go ahead and spend money on going ahead and downloading operating system, then you can also anytime go ahead and although I don't support piracy, but still you can go ahead and download the Windows 7 activated versions on torrent, and you can go ahead and download them. You'll see a lot of these things, and I specifically state that I don't support piracy, but still, just in case, I too believe that all software should be free, so that's the reason I'm telling you that you can go ahead and download this. But this is just for your home purpose that I would be suggesting you to download. So once you have the Windows 7 version, and you might be wondering that why I am not asking you to go ahead and download the Windows 8. The reason being that Windows 8 and 8.1, though I am using it in my computer, it has a hell lot of bugs, trust me guys. And if you go and download that, then leave hacking behind. You just have to go ahead and go ahead and configure your operating system, that's Windows 8 or 8.1, to go ahead and solve its bug. You will just be sitting to solve this bug rather than going ahead and learning them, because that's what Windows 8.1 will do. So unless you know what you're doing, Windows 8 I won't suggest that, because it has a lot of bugs in its updates. So you need to be very careful when you are going ahead and downloading the updates for that. So speaking of Kali Linux, as you know how to go ahead and download that, I'll show you how to install that. And whenever you install any kind of operating system in a VMware, you will see it over here on the left hand side, and whichever system you have. So I'll just go ahead and tell you how we can go ahead and start downloading installing the Kali Linux. So, and just before I go ahead and show you how to install the Kali Linux, I'll also go ahead and open my notepad. Let me check. Okay, so there are a few different ways as to how we can go and install the Kali Linux. The first and the most important way would be, I'll just go and note it down, would be through VMware, and the second would be on a physical operating system, which would be the same. It would almost be the same as VMware. And the third one would be it would just be a bit different, the physical operating system. And third way to install would be dual booting with Windows. The fourth way would be to go ahead and this is one of the toughest way, because I know that a lot of people would be using Macintosh or a Mac rather than a normal laptop. The reason being that it's far more faster and softer to use to that operating system, but still there would be some people who would want to dual boot it on a Kali Linux. I know that people who are using MacBook will not go ahead and replace Macintosh OS X, but still there are ways how you can go ahead and dual boot that. So I'll also go ahead and teach you that in this tutorial. and this would be for the OS X version. And the last and the final one would be, I'll just go ahead and mark it is important. I'll just go ahead and let me check if I could increase the font. Okay, perfect. And the last and the most important thing as to how, if you ask me or any penetration tester, how they actually go ahead and use, they don't use it in any specific PC or any laptop. The reason being that it leaves, although Kali Linux is extremely, or I can say the best operating system we ever had in penetration testing or hacking, there's still ways how how a forensic investigator can go ahead and trace it back to you. So that is the reason most people don't go ahead and install it physically, either VMware or any other thing. If you're using VMware, then I would suggest also going ahead and downloading the Unix version, because that makes you almost anonymous. And just in case you don't know what Unix is, I'll also go ahead and show you. It is an operating system which goes ahead and makes you anonymous when going ahead and, let's say, downloading something or browsing something, but still it depends upon how you go ahead and browse the internet, or someone can still trace it back to you if you're not smart enough. So, and I won't be teaching you how to install Unix. It was just an example of that. So, but why go through all of this trouble when you can simply keep your physical operating system, Windows or Mac, the way you want it, and without interrupting anything? No VMware or spending money, no physical operating system, no dual booting, anything. There is still a way how we can go ahead and use Kali Linux, and that is called as Live USB or Live Kali. That's what it is known as. And inside that we have again two different methods. That would be normal installation, or the second one would be the persistent way. And I would suggest going through the persistent way. The reason being that I won't tell it to you right now, but when I would be going ahead and teaching it to you, I will show you. And so, coming back to the VMware, I'll just go ahead and show you how we can go ahead and install that. You just need to go ahead and click on the create new virtual machine, and we will be using the custom because we need to know exactly what we are doing. Next, it's the VMware Workstation 9, perfect. So these are the limitations for this VMware Workstation 9. 64 GB memory, 8 processor limit, and 10 network adapter limit, and 2 TB hard disk size. After that, normally people go ahead and choose this, but I would suggest not, because that can sometimes create problems. So I'll go ahead and select I will install the operating system later. Next, and since we would be installing Kali Linux, I would go ahead and suggest you it's going ahead and selecting Linux, and then going ahead and selecting simply Ubuntu. If you have, let's say, any other version, such as, you can also go ahead and use Debian, but I won't suggest that. I would suggest using Ubuntu because that's what normally we use. If you have 64-bit, then you can go ahead and use Ubuntu 64-bit. So I would be using the normal one. Next, I would be saving it in my own folder, so let me just go ahead and check. Okay, and over here I'll type, let's say, Kali, I'll just type vmware OS, perfect, and I'll name the virtual machine as, let's say, Kali Linux 32-bit, perfect. And next, and I would suggest using 2 processors, that makes it a bit more fast, and 2 cores. Next, and 1 GB of RAM, that's what I would suggest using. Next, and make sure that you use the network address translation. If you don't use that, then you won't be able to communicate with any other virtual machine, not even with your own host machine. That's the reason. And just in case you don't know what host machine is, host is your actual computer, that's your physical computer, and this virtual computer is known as a guest machine. So use always network address translation, that's NAT connection, because if you use bridge networking, then the guest must have its own IP address on the external network, else it won't work. If you use host only, then it will only connect to the host network, and this, as it suggests, it's self-explanatory that do not use network operating system networking connection. So we would be using NAT, since we need to go ahead and connect each and every other operating system we have. Click next. We don't have anything to do with this, just click next and create a new virtual disk, perfect. Next, SCSI, next, and 20 GB, that's what we want, it's more than enough for us. I'll click next, and I'll go ahead and select a place as to where we need to go and install. I would suggest going ahead and using it in the same place where you created Kali Linux. So I'll just go ahead and make a new folder. Is there an option over here? Okay. Where OSs, and I'll go ahead and save it over here. Perfect. Next, so as you can see, VMware OSs, and we have everything over here. Finish. Perfect. And once I have it over here, before I go ahead and install it, I need to go ahead and click Edit Virtual Machine, because we need to insert the ISO that we had. So shared folder, I will go ahead and select always enabled, and let's check where we have CD. We need to go ahead and use ISO image rather than using a physical drive. If you have went ahead and created a boot CD out of your ISO file, then you can use physical drive and insert a specific CD inside your operating system. If not, if you only have the ISO file that we just downloaded, which would look something similar to this one that I have over here, then I would suggest going ahead and using this. Use ISO image, I browse and go ahead and select the specific file that we need, and we have it over here, ISO, open. Okay, and I would go ahead and ask it to power on this virtual machine. Okay, let me check, and I'll just run it. Let's see. Okay, so this button goes ahead and makes it a full screen window. If you want to go out, you can just type Control Alt and you can go out, and over here you can see that we have the live. That means we don't need to, and as I was telling you previously, live means you don't need to install anything. It will just run itself on the USB or through the ISO file. These are the forensic method. That means it won't even leave any single trail, no matter what. But we would be proceeding with graphic install, since we need to go and install that. So graphic install, and it may take a bit of time, though it's very fast. And English, since I'm in India, I'll select India. American English. It can take a bit of time, but it's actually faster than installing any other operating system. If you're installing this inside a physical computer rather than on a virtual machine, then you will have to do the same thing. Just install, insert your boot disk or your USB, whichever you have, and once you have installed that, once you have booted the PC, it will ask you to go ahead and the same thing that you're doing over here, graphic install. And let's see, the host name I would be using would be Kali_test. That would be the name for this PC. Okay, I'll just go back and I'll type Kali test. Let's see if that works. Perfect. Domain name, skip, and the root password, it's necessary that we have a root password, so I'll just type it. Okay, perfect. The only difference in installing it on a physical computer or over here would be this. If you're using a physical computer, then you need to go ahead and select manual and specify the partition that you have created, the primary partition. If you have not, then you can just go ahead and use the entire disk, and it will straight away go ahead and install the VMware. Next, all files in one partition. Perfect. It will do everything on its own, create swap of 1 GB since we have 1 GB of RAM. The remaining it will go ahead and supply to its external hard disk, that's ext4. Whereas Windows uses NTFS, it uses ext4. Select next, write changes yes. Perfect. So it will take quite a bit of time for it to go and install that. So I'll just go ahead and pause it. So by the time it goes ahead and install, also let's go ahead and install our another machine, that would be the Windows one. So perfect, over here we'll be using Windows and Windows 7. Perfect. And now I'll just go ahead and browse it, see Vinayak, and VMware. I'll go ahead and create a new folder. I'll name it as Win7. Perfect. Yep, 2, perfect. And 1024, I don't think we would be needing that much, so I'll just type 512 MB RAM. That would be more than enough. It just suffice. Just go ahead and click next, the same things that we did previously, and I'll just go ahead and select 25 gigs because or 20 gigs because we won't even need that much. Perfect. And I'll just go ahead and select it in the same way where we installed it. Windows 7. Perfect. Save. Next. Perfect. And till the time our Kali Linux installs, let's see if we could go and install the Windows. Let's go and select edit virtual machine, and I have the NRG file instead of ISO, so let's go ahead and see if I could use, I actually doubt, but let's see if we could install it through our NRG file. Let's check, and let's try to power on this virtual machine. And by the time it gets started, let's wait. Okay, perfect, it's working. So I hope that you know how to install a Windows version. If you're not, then you can still go ahead and see this. If you know how to install, you can straight away skip to the next part, where I would go ahead and teach you how to install it on a Mac OS, and finally the live CD. So that is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be continuing with the installation of Windows version. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial in ethical hacking and penetration testing. So in the previous tutorial, I showed you how to go and install the Kali Linux. I'll continue with the installation of Windows 7 in this version, and I'll go and select install now. And by the time it gets installed, I'll also go ahead and show you some specific things as to what okay, so before I proceed, we have it over here. I would be installing the 32-bit file, and let's use Ultimate. It has everything, Windows 7 Ultimate activated, 32-bit, perfect. And yes, I accept. Advanced, and yes, perfect, next. Okay, so till the time it gets installed, let's see where we have on our Kali Linux. Okay, it will take another 5 minutes, I believe, to install. So by the time till this gets installed, let's talk about ethical hacking. So computer attacks have been that targeted undisclosed vulnerabilities are more common, and they last longer than many security researchers previously thought. So there is something called as zero-day attack nowadays, which has become more popular. The typical zero-day attack, by definition, says that it exploits software flaws before they are publicly disclosed. That means it lasts on an average of around let's say 300 days, with some lasting as 2.5 years as well. So zero-day attacks are meaner, and they are more rampant than you can ever think of. So you can say that researchers said that their findings suggest that this can be much danger than the normal. And zero-day attacks are difficult to prevent because they exploit unknown vulnerabilities for which there are no patches, no antivirus, or not even intrusion detection signatures. The one of the most famous virus that was created till now was the Stuxnet malware, which went ahead and you can say as it disabled the whole of nuclear research center of Iran. So, and it seems that as long as the software will have bugs and the development of exploits for new vulnerabilities will be a profitable activity, it will be exposed to zero-day attacks. So these are, there's some kind of viruses that you cannot go ahead and prevent it. So you need to make sure that whatever you're installing is foolproof, because it cannot be foolproof, but still you need to know that what you are trying to install and where you're going to connect. However, it is doubtful that repacking alone can account for an increase up to 5 orders of magnitude, but still more likely this increase in result of extensive use of virus be proven that there are exploits in other malware as well. That means you can still go ahead and exploit a virus as well. So it is important to bear in mind before learning ethical hacking that attackers break into systems for various purposes. Therefore, it is important to comprehend how malicious hackers exploit systems and the probable reasons behind the attack. So if you know what you're doing, it's fine, but there are some people who don't know what they're doing, so it will be very hard for you to go and actually trace them. Ethical hacking is the process of checking and testing the organization network for possible loopholes and vulnerabilities. And that's what you would be doing once you go and learn this. The individuals or experts who perform ethical hacking are called as white hats. They perform hacking in ethical ways without causing any damage to computer system and thereby increasing the security parameter of an organization. There are different types of hackers, some called as white hats, black hats, and there are even grey hat hackers. White hats are the people who do it for good. Black hats, obviously you must have guessed it right that yes, they are the bad guys, and there are some people called as grey hat hackers. They can be called as hacktivists as well or something like that. So we would be thinking in this tutorial as to how a black hat goes ahead and hacks into system, and the same way we would be using. But just in mind, make sure that just by learning Kali Linux alone, it won't make you some kind of a very genius person, because there are people who go ahead and sit months and years to go ahead and create a single exploit, and that exploit can straight away go ahead and let's say make your foolproof plan full of loopholes. So you cannot expect everything to be the best way. So you need to go ahead and keep yourself under testing. You need to go ahead and test each and everything that you have. You need to go ahead and keep learning yourself. That's how it will work. So there is one question though, that why do people go ahead and hack other people's stuff? So in these tutorials further on, I would be using the specific terminologies which would be very much necessary for you to understand. So the first thing would be the hack value, and the hack value is a notion among all hackers that something is worth doing which is interesting, and hackers might feel that breaking down the toughest network security might give them great satisfaction, and that is something they have accomplished not everyone could do. That can be one of the reasons why they hack. Or another thing is an exploit. Exploit is defined as a way to breach security on an IT system through vulnerability. Vulnerability is a weakness in design and implementation error that can lead to unexpected or undesirable event. Let's say you have not yet patched your Windows 7 version or the Windows 8 version, or so that means that there can be a loophole in your security and it can still be hacked. And at that point of time, malicious hackers create exploits, or you can say as viruses, and those viruses and exploits go ahead and harm your system. Then they have zero-day attacks. Zero-day attacks are those that means they have not even known to normal people that okay, these are the kind of exploits that are there. And there's something also called as daisy chaining. Attackers who get away with database theft usually complete their task and backtrack to cover their tracks by destroying logs. The attackers gain control of other systems and use them for malicious activities. It becomes difficult to identify these attackers as they use other systems to perform illegal activities than using their own. And the same can be done through Kali Linux. So let's check if, okay, so we have our Kali Linux installed. So let's go ahead and check it over here. Use a network mirror, no. And it will take hardly a few minutes to go and install this. It's almost over, same over here. So let's wait till these things get installed. So it seems like our Windows 7 has started, and make sure that you install the VMware tools before you go ahead and start anything, practicing anything. The reason being that we need VMware tools for lots of things. That's the reason. Okay, perfect. Let's wait till this gets started. Seems like Windows 7 has started. Where are we on Kali Linux? It's still trying to configure the package manager. Yes, seems like our Kali Linux is back on track. So install the grub boot record, and in case you don't know what grub is, you need to go ahead and select yes always, because if you're trying to dual boot sometime later on, then you will surely need the grub bootloader. That's why. So, and the things that we would be learning in Kali Linux would be information gathering, sniffing, spoofing, eavesdropping, session hijacking, MITM, that's man in the middle attack or monkey in the middle attacks, SQL injection, ARP poisoning, and a lot of password based attacks. We'd also go ahead and use the malwares that we have inbuilt inside. I'll select continue. Then we will target the footprinting and DDoS attacks, that's distributed denial of service attacks and denial of service attacks. We will also be going ahead and backdooring everything so that in case due to some reason if we lose our connection, we will still be able to enter our own operating system or our target system. So I believe that's getting installed. So let's check. Perfect. Seems like our Windows version is starting. Okay, perfect. So this is how we can go and install the operating systems. So that is it for this tutorial, and in the next tutorial I'll be going and letting you know as to how we can go ahead and start them and configure them. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing. So in this tutorial we will start with configuring our Kali Linux and Windows 7. So Windows 7 is almost started and this is our Kali Linux. This is the recovery mode. If due to some reason you have done some mistake and your Kali Linux is not working, then you can go and choose the recovery mode, but I will be choosing this right now, and I'll just go ahead and maximize it to show you how it looks like. Starting it the first time can be a bit slow, but because you need to configure each and everything, you need to configure the repositories, and after that there are loads and loads of things. You can go ahead and search on the web and check that what are the things required to go ahead and start. What are the things required, the first 20 things that you need to do after installing Kali Linux, and you will get specific things. So you can go ahead and configure these things as per your request. So this is the first time you start, you will get something like this, and the username will always be root unless you have assigned any user. So root means you are the owner of this operating system, and then password would be the password which you have set. Once you have started, it will look something like this. And trust me guys, this is way too different from Windows 7 or even Macintosh. So if you think that just because you know Windows 7 or Macintosh you may know what this is, then you're wrong guys. So I'll just go ahead and configure this. First I'll make the screen a bit bigger, and by the time it starts, let me check if my Windows 7, okay, it is almost completing installation. Perfect. And let me check the display. Okay, I think I can go ahead and use this one. This would be perfect. Okay, great. Perfect. Keep this configuration. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do after installing this would be the installation of VMware. So you can go ahead on the left hand side, right click on Kali Linux and select install VMware tools. If you don't install VMware tools, then you won't be able to go ahead and copy anything from your guest operating system to your computer. So once you have that, you need to go ahead and copy everything, and just in case you need detailed information, you can go ahead, check over here at the web, and you will get it. So I'll just go ahead and select install VMware player, sorry, not VMware player, install let's say VMware tools on Kali Linux. Just in case you need a detailed version, go ahead and select, and by the time it starts, let's see if our Windows 7 is starting. Yes, it is. And okay, it's getting started. Okay, so as you can see that you need to type API. Once you have over here, you can go ahead and just go into the specific thing and you need to install that. So I'll just go to my directory, I'll just go ahead and open it. Let me check what we have inside the CD-ROM. Okay, why is it that I can't see anything? Let me check. Okay, so our Windows 7 has started, so I'll just type test user, it would be the name, and let's say I'll got the same password, and perfect. Now perfect, whatever it is, home network. Now let me check. I'll just go down and try to remount it. Let's see if I get something over here. Okay, Kali live. No, I'll just eject. Let me check if I still have it over here. Okay, yeah, this is the region. So I'll just go ahead and I have to remove that. So by the time I'll just go ahead and install the VMware tools. Okay, perfect, we have it over here. So I'll just go ahead and you need to copy it and paste it in the home directory, and your home directory will be over here. I'll just go ahead and open the sidebar. So we have the home over here. I'll just go ahead and paste it over here. So once you have it, I'll just check by the time. Skip. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, that will happen. Okay, so we will start with configuring this, and once you have copied it, just go ahead, open on your terminal, and I assume that you have no knowledge of, I will be assuming that you don't have any knowledge of using Linux prior to this tutorial. So I'll just go ahead and let you guys know the basic commands that you would be needing would be cd, that would be to change directory. The next thing would be ls, that would be to view everything or in which directory you are. If you were to go ahead and type Control Z, that means to break you out of that specific loop, and cancel. Perfect. Okay, and if you have, let's say, cp, that means to copy any specific thing. So I'll go ahead and check where I am right now. So ls, that means I am on desktop, I am inside home. And if you enter pwd, that means it will show you where you are. Root means you are at your home. So I'll just go ahead and type chmod plus x and vmware. Perfect. And yeah, I think my Windows 7 has started. Okay, perfect. So before let me just go ahead and change its resolution. Okay, let's be the same. Okay, perfect. I'll just shut this down, and just before I go ahead and close this, make sure that you go ahead and turn off the Windows Defender, because we don't want that open. If you actually keep it open, then it would be something that we would need to go ahead and close it down. Okay, it's already disabled by default. Fine, no problem. Okay, never mind, it's already closed. So I'll just go ahead and shut this down, since as of now we won't be needing that. We need to go ahead and configure our Kali Linux. Okay, so back to Kali. I'll just go ahead and what I did over here, chmod, that means take control of take root permissions to go ahead and modify or access this VMware tools. And now I'll type tar-xf space vmware tools. That means it will go ahead and extract the tar file that is a specific code that we need to use, and by the time it goes and installs, let's close our Windows 7. Perfect. And as you can go ahead and see, it has already went ahead and extracted this specific zip file, and tar-gz means a zip file. So if you go ahead and see, this is your original version, and this is actually installed, so actually extracted, and now we need to go ahead and install that. So I need to go ahead and through that specific directory, cd and vmware. Okay, let me check. Okay, we have vmware tools distribution, and now I need to go ahead and extract that. So let me check by ls. We have these files. So this specific file that we have over here ending with pl, that is a Perl file, and it is similar to the one that we have in Windows, such as .exe file. That means it's similar to that. So that means it's an executable file, and since I have the root permissions, I will be able to execute that. So I'll just type /vmware. That means it will go and install that, and I'll hit enter, and it will ask me, just go ahead and hit enter everything, and it will go ahead and install each and everything over here. So yes, yes, no, yes, whatever it asks you, just go ahead and keep hitting enter. Doesn't matter what it's asking because it will straight away go to install all the necessary things. And to change it, no. Okay, instead of the running, please enter that the files running from not compiling modules for some reason. The distribution, okay. So it will take a bit of time for it to go ahead and get installed, and perfect. So it's been installed right now, and I'll just go ahead and type exit, and I won't be needing these VMware tools. I'll go ahead and delete both of them. And yes, and I need to go ahead and get the latest updates, but before I do, since I have installed VMware, I need to reboot. So I'll just go ahead and type reboot, and it will go ahead and reboot itself. So yeah, that's how this looks like. So that is it for the configuration of VM Kali Linux, and in the next tutorial I'll be going out in detail and explaining it to you as to what else we need to do after the installation of VMware tools, and how we need to go ahead and configure the scripts to go ahead and start using Kali Linux. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in the previous tutorial, I explained it to you as to how we can go ahead and install the VMware tools. In this tutorial, we will be going ahead and configuring each and everything. So just to cover the basics, here we have the system settings, the root, whether it's available or busy. System settings, you can go ahead and change the background over here. I'll be changing it to something light so that it will be easier for you to see. So I'll just go ahead and select this, and after that you have the brightness unlock, and you can go ahead and configure your, I'll just go ahead and keep it to fast, and sensitivity would be this much, and perfect. Okay, everything else is perfect. So just go ahead and configure, and when you start it for the first time, your Kali Linux, you can see it over here, this specific thing that your sound is turned off. So in order to turn it on, you need to go ahead and click mute, and then you can go ahead and increase its volume, and no matter how much time you go ahead and make it, it will still be mute when you go ahead and start it, because Kali needs to be quiet when you start it for the first time. And we need to go ahead and get the source files first. So in order for us to go ahead and get the source file, I'll show you how to go ahead, and first things we need to do is whether to check whether we have the correct repositories, because if we don't have the correct repositories, then our system will break when updating. So you can go over here inside my computer, file system, etc, and we have apt, that's aptitude, and the source list, we have it over here. And by default this will open in vim, and I don't actually support vim, so I'll go ahead and change it to, let's see what we have. We have leafpad over here, so I'll set it as default, close, and it will open with default. Perfect. I'll just overwrap it. So as you can see that we have one, okay, we have these, we have only one, you can say as one specific repository, but we need all of these which we have officially from Kali Linux. Sometimes they don't update it. So as soon as you open your browser, that is iceweasel, you will see Kali docs over here. Just click on that. If you're connected to internet, it will straight away take you over there. So let me check if I have, I think so, I have the connection on. Let it load perfectly. Okay, so once you have it over, you can see Kali source list repositories. Just click over here. So as you can see that we have 3 repositories over here. One for the regular repositories, that means the updates. One are the source repositories, that means any extra installation that you need other than the operating system that has in its default, you will get it over here. And these are the bleeding edge. You won't need the bleeding edge unless you are a developer. And since you are watching this tutorial, I will believe that you are not a developer and you are just trying to learn Kali Linux or hacking. So we need only these 2 repositories. So what I would be doing, I'll just select each and everything, delete, and since this is a period list file, if I go ahead and type pound, it will go ahead and convert that into a specific comment. So I'll just type and I'll go ahead and copy it, regular repositories. I'll paste it over here, and I'll go ahead and copy these 2 repository links, and I'll paste it, and then I'll type source repositories, and I will go ahead and copy everything from over here, and I will paste it. Perfect. And just one thing, most of these people out there don't know about this. Just in case you want to speed up your updating process, just go ahead and convert this HTTP to REPO. I can just go ahead and copy the same and paste it over here and save it. And when you go ahead and try to update, you will get much better speed because it will go ahead and try to get its latest network mirror than directly downloading from the source web server. So once we have it, I'll just close, open this terminal, and since we need to go and update, we don't need to type. If you are a Linux user previously, you might be wondering that you need to type sudo, that means super user do, every time to go ahead and get a root access. But as you can see, we have already the root access over here, root@Kali, so we don't need to type sudo every time. We can straight away type whatever we want and it will directly run through root. So I need to go ahead and get the update, so I'll just type apt-get space update. That means aptitude get update. So it will go ahead and check all the updates that it has, connect to its web server and give me back the result whether there are any updates or not. So by the time it's getting updated, I'll let you know about some few other things, that is installing this on MacBook Pro, which I have not yet taught it to you. I've only let you know as to how we can go ahead and install this normally, and we also have to check the live USB version as to how we can go ahead and install that as well. So, and also we have the persistence inside that, so just let this update. And just remember that unlike Windows, over here we cannot install multiple things at one time. We need to install one at a time so that its source does not break, else it will break. That's the reason. So just let it complete. By that time, the time it gets all the updates, I'll show you a few other things. You can check applications over here. We have several things you can go ahead and notice. We have the Arduino chip, that's Android programming, just in case you wanted to hack into Android. And these are a few different things that we can see over here. The best part over here is Kali Linux. It has more than, you can say, as 200 tools for hacking, each for a specific purpose. So that means if you have Kali Linux and you know how to use it, that means you have almost half of your hacking knowledge. That's how it will be. It has included Ruby and Python installation and as well as Perl, so you don't need to go ahead and install it separately. To start Python, just in case, you can just type Python and it will start the Python 2.7 version, which is by default. If you want anything else, then you can go ahead and select that as well. So you need to go ahead and right click, edit menus, and in order to activate the Python version, you can go ahead and select it from over here, 2.7 and 3.2, the normal version which we will use. And this is the default IceWeasel. If you want, you can go ahead and install Tor browser as well, just to go ahead and browse safely and securely. And these are the ham radios, the radio chirp, and these are the Wireshark, which you would use for sniffing and spoofing, EtherCap, and which I would be teaching you later on. So as you can see that we have several tools. These are the top 10 security tools which we have over here. AirCrackNG to go ahead and crack wireless hacking, Burpsuit to crack password, John the Ripper, Maltigo to gather information, and Metasploit is the best that we could ever use. SQLmap and Wireshark again, and Nmap for OS fingerprinting and stuff. And then we have, for information gathering, we have DNS analysis. We have all of these things in which I consider ZenMap and DNS Tracer the best. We have intrusion detection, identification, live. So you can see that now you can understand that why Kali Linux is far different from any other operating system we have ever seen. I believe we have all the headers. Okay. So this is one of the reasons that it has n number of tools, or you can say it has all the tools that any person can need to go ahead and do anything. Routing analysis, vulnerability, web application, passwords, be it anything from social engineering to exploitation, it has everything. So as you can see, coming back to our updates, it has checked all the updates, and let's check if we have any upgrades, that means any updates. So I can go and apt get upgrade. we have 433 MB of updates that we need, which I would not be updating as of now. Or if you want, you can also go ahead and type distribution update upgrade. And okay, we have total of 730 MB of files, which will update each and everything. And I won't be installing that because it would take a very long time. So no. And I'll also go ahead and type install a few things that I would need. That would be gedit. That's an editor. Okay, get install gedit. And yes, it's a 4 MB file. It will take quite a bit, I believe, to go ahead and install that. So by that time, I'll let you know as to how we can go ahead and install MacBook. This is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be teaching you about installing Kali Linux on MacBook Pro and configuring it. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing. So in this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to install Kali Linux on MacBook Pro or Air or whichever version you have. And this is specifically mentioned for the Mac OS X, which I assume that you would be using because it is the latest one. So the things that you would need would be the grub2, the refind, the specific boot thing which you would be using, and the pros of installing would be we would be using grub2 for EFI, which is simple and easy to use, and Mac OS X can be encrypted but requires extra work, and I would not be teaching you in this tutorial. And Kali Linux would be encrypted as well, and it will coexist with the Mac OS X. And Kali Linux bootable USB cannot be booted with the refind version. So since Kali Linux 1.1 is based on Debian, which is EFI enabled by default, we will not be requiring the refind to go ahead and install it on MacBook Pro. But still, just in case if you have any older version of MacBook, then you would require, if you have any version earlier than MacBook 2012, then you would require refind. So you can go on the Google on this website. I'll just go ahead and open here and let's search refind, and we need to install this since Mac does not have the UEFI version. So we need to install this. You can go ahead and okay, so you need to go ahead and download this for the Mac version. Yeah, obviously it is for Mac. So once you install it, it will be able to detect dual boot, and then you can go ahead and install this on your specific MacBook Pro. And you can see this are the described processes, but this is not which we would be using because Kali Linux requires a different thing. So first thing first, install refind on MacBook Pro, and then boot up your MacBook and download the refind binary zip file and extract it. Once you've extracted it, open your terminal and type to cd downloads, and then go ahead and start. Let's assume that I have this MacBook Pro. So if this is my MacBook terminal, go to your cd refind and whichever directory you have, and since I won't have, I'll just be assuming. And once you have the specific folder, just going to type /install sh, and it will install everything related to refind inside your MacBook Pro. And at the MacBook Pro OS X, execute the disk utility, create a new partition and make it as two, one for Macintosh HD, that's hard disk, and new one for Macintosh HD2. And then remove the newest created partition. Do not format it, leave it as it is, and after that shut it down. Insert Kali Linux live, install USB to the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, and then power on your MacBook Pro with long pressing Option key. When the Kali Linux boot menu is displayed, select Live AMD64 and press the tab to add persistence at the end of the line. The Kali Linux will be installed, and install it as per your normal process as to where we do that. So next time when you go ahead and try to run the Kali Linux, it will ask you whether to start the MacBook Pro or to install to run the normal version, that is Kali Linux. So once you have all of these things, the next thing that we need to do is to go ahead and install the live USB. And so before I proceed, let me explain to you what live USB is. I'll just go ahead and open the Kali Linux website, and I'll just type Kali live USB. So what this does is that you need to boot your computer or laptop, whatever it is, through your USB drive. You need to go ahead and make your USB drive bootable for your Kali Linux, and once you have that, you can straight away go ahead and connect it to your computer and run your Kali Linux even without installing it on your computer. So once you could do that, no matter what you do, you will not be there would be no trace of you getting caught, even if everything goes wrong or for any other thing. And just one more thing, if you go and install the live USB, you won't be able to update that unless you go and install the Kali Linux persistent. So, and you need to have the unit boot in order for you to go and convert your Kali Linux inside a USB to make it bootable. Or you can use the Win32 disk imager, which let me show you. Win32 disk imager. If you have a Windows operating system, then you can go ahead and run this Win32 disk imager, through which you can go ahead and boot your ISO into your USB drive. And you have this on your sourceforge.net. Just download this, install it, and it will run. And as you can see that once it is bootable, you can straight away go ahead and run each and everything. And if you need to make it persistent, there is still a way. Persistent means that you would be able to upgrade, and any changes that you make will be saved in your USB drive. I cannot show you that because I don't have a USB drive as of now, but you can do that. And I would suggest you having a minimum of let's say 16 GB of USB, because Kali Linux will take approximately a total of 7 or 6 GB of your total space, and remaining should be there in case you need to install anything separately or anything extra. And once you connect it, you will be able to run each and everything related to Kali Linux through that USB. So that is what Kali USB is. So now we know that, let's go ahead and configure the remaining things that we need. So I can go ahead and show you as to the next thing that we need to do is we need to update our social engineering toolkit. It would be, to start that, just type SETOOLKIT. Once you hit enter, it will start, and type yes, enter, it will start. So need to update all the third-party modules and SCT configuration. So just type 3, as you can see that 3 means third-party modules. So you can see we have these two modules over here. To update these things, go ahead and update the social engineering toolkit, that would be 4, and to go ahead and check all the updates and get itself the latest updates. After that, go ahead and update your SCT configuration, type 5 and hit enter, and yes, we have all the latest updates. The next thing that we would need to do would be to go ahead and update the MSF console. So I need to type MSF console, and we need to go ahead and update that so that, because sometimes what happens is that it's not updated along with your normal repositories. That's the reason we need to go ahead and specifically install that. So it's starting. It can take a bit of time to start, and the things that we need to go ahead and install would be let's check if we have the LibreOffice over here. Okay, we don't have the LibreOffice. Let me check. Okay, we don't have the LibreOffice, and as you can see that this is the Metasploit framework, which has 1389 exploits as of now, which out of which 788 are auxiliary, and 356 payloads, out of which 37 are encoders. So to update this, which I will be teaching you later on, so first we need to update. So just type MSF update and hit enter, and you can go ahead and expect weekly updates on using this method, because you cannot find such kind of updates on a daily basis, or when you go ahead and type your normal aptitude get install, so, or aptitude get update. So this is one way of doing that. And along with this, we need to install the Java and the Adobe Flash as well. So we'll go ahead and also type apt get install open jre /sdk/ don't remember exactly, let's check. Okay, install Java Kali Linux and install Adobe Flash and As you can see over here, we have different versions. You can go ahead and also download it manually, but I would suggest updating it through. Okay, we have start apt get install flash, and yeah, flash plugin non-free. Perfect, we have it. So I'll just, by the time I'll just install this. Let's say if we have received any updates over here. Okay, we have updates, as you can see over here, so 235 MB of file, and I won't be going ahead and installing that right now because it would take a very long time. I'll update it in the background. I'll let you know. And as you can see that we have this version over here. Okay, so let me get install. Okay, here we have it. I'll just copy that and paste it over here. apt get install openjdk-7-jre, and yes, I need to install that. Yes. Okay, I did not press yes. That's the reason it was not able to authenticate it. And after that, we can also go ahead and type apt get install flash plugin -non-free, and it will get installed again. So these are the few basic things that you need to remember to go ahead and configure these things. And once you have all of these things ready, updating these things, upgrading and installing these specific things, after that we can go ahead and start attacking your Windows 7. And just make sure that you have all the updates. If you don't, then you will lose one or more important things which you may not be able to run under your computer. So that is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we will be starting with the basic hacking stuff and footprinting and methodology. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing with Kali Linux. So before I proceed today, what I would be teaching is footprinting and reconnaissance. So before I go ahead deep into what it exactly is, before I go ahead more into letting you know how we can go ahead and use Kali Linux for penetration testing or hacking into some random stuff, I'll teach you how we need to first go ahead with that. So there are a few layers of hacking that you need to know before you can go ahead and hack into any kind of stuff. Let's say it may be a PC or laptop or cell phone PDA or in any company's server or anything. So there are a layer of things that you need to know. You need to follow these specific protocols before you can get into deep hacking. So today I would be teaching you, and as you can see over here that we have lots of stuff over here. When you check Kali Linux, we have n number of security tools. So you might be wondering what is information gathering, vulnerability analysis, web application password attacks, and many more. So I would first go ahead and teach you the different layers of ethical hacking today. So let's open the web browser and go ahead and check. I have some or the other over here. Let's check years of ethical hacking. The few things that you need to know before you can proceed into detailed stuff. So I would be teaching you that today. The first thing that we would be needing would be to know that, okay, the first thing is that we need to go ahead and gather the information, and then we need to go ahead and know whom we are attacking, what are the different layers for that. That means what are the countermeasures that they can go ahead and take against us. So these are the few things that I would be teaching you today. So let me check. Okay, I think that it's checking the layers of OSI. So I'll just type steps of ethical hacking. Perfect. Okay. So these are the things which we'll go through once we go in detail related to ethical hacking. The first that we would be looking today would be the footprinting, who is NS lookup search engines and social networking sites. After that, scanning and enumeration, that are computer ports, which ports are open, which ports are not, and what would be the application services. Then Trojans and backdoors, viruses, and then finally the hacking and exploitation. That would be the buffer overflow, spoofing, or different types of attacks, which includes even DDoS, which is not over here as of now. But yeah, these are things I would be teaching you. So let's take a first look at footprinting. So I'll just go ahead and show you. Let's go ahead and take a look at what are the footprinting tools we have, and after that I will explain it to you what is footprinting. So let's check. Okay, we should be okay here. As you can see, we have these information gathering tools are all also known as footprinting tools. And as you can see that we have loads of things over here: service fingerprinting, routing analysis, OS fingerprinting as to gathering information about a related OS, and loads of other stuff. So let's first know what exactly footprinting terminology is and what all things are included in that. So footprinting is just that we need to go ahead and gather information about specific people. Okay, let me check the updates. By the time it gets updated, let's go ahead and start with the footprinting terminology. Okay, so footprinting and reconnaissance is what we would be learning today. So what is footprinting? These are the several ways of gathering information about footprinting. So before we go deep into this concept, it is important to know the basic terminology used in footprinting, and these terms will help you understand the concept of footprinting and its structures. So open source or passive information gathering, that is the first one. So open source of passive information gathering, PIG, that's what I call. It is the easiest way to collect information about the target organization. It refers to the process of gathering information from open sources or publicly available sources such as newspapers, television, social networking sites like Facebook, Twitter, Orkut, or blogs, etc. And using these, you can gather information such as network boundaries as to where they are actually located, their geolocation, IP addresses reachable via internet, operating systems, web servers which are used by the target network, TCP and UDP services in each system which are open and which are not, control mechanism, system architectures, intrusion detection systems, and many more. So that is what is included in open source and passive information. After that, we have active information gathering. So in active information gathering, process attackers mainly focus on the employees of the target organization. Attackers try to extract information from the employees by conducting social engineering on site visits or interviews or questionnaires, something similar to that. After that, we have anonymous footprinting. This refers to the process of collecting information from sources anonymously so that your efforts cannot be traced. And at this point of time, people normally use Tor browsers, which are mostly famous in anonymous web browsing. So yeah, and after that we have pseudo-anonymous footprinting, and these refers to the process of collecting information from the sources that have been published on internet, but it is not directly linked to the author's name. This information may be published under a different name, or the author may have a well-established pen name, we can say, means a random pseudonym, or the author may also be a corporate or government official and he may be prohibited from posting under his or her original name. So irrespective of the reason for finding the author's name, collecting information from such sources are called as pseudo-anonymous. So after that we have lots of other types of information gathering, which are organizational or private footprinting or internet footprinting. So in footprinting, we normally collect the basic information about the target network, determine the operating systems used, platforms running, web servers, then we perform the WHOIS or DNS network and organizational queries, and finally we find the vulnerabilities and exploits for launching these attacks. So you might be wondering that how Facebook is very useful in that. So and you might also be wondering that why only Facebook? Why not, let's say, we have Twitter as well over here, then why not Twitter or why not Orkut? The reason being that Facebook is the most popular and people don't hesitate to give out information on Facebook. Let's say for example, and even if they don't want to give out information, they may just simply give out without even them knowing that. Let's say for example, you want to search a person on Facebook and you have find out his name, and if you want to go ahead and access his, let's say for example, Facebook profile, you want to hack into that, and when you go ahead and let's say you click forgot the password option, and then it will ask you what is the date of birth of the person. Just one example, because that is a normal question that people keep. So you want to know the date of birth of that person. So what you would do, you would go ahead and search into his profile, and you may not able to get that. So, or you may call and you may do social engineering to get his date of birth or something like that. But there is another way. Even if you do social engineering stuff like by calling them, there's still a way that they can trace you out by looking up at the phone number, until unless you have not created a fake account and you have created a fake cell phone number as well. But that is getting into deep stuff, and it may also have different expenditures as to getting a phone, getting a cell phone, getting a SIM card, and then creating fake IDs to get this fake SIM card. So instead of doing that, why not go ahead and use some just social engineering techniques such as just guessing and gathering information. So the first part would be just go ahead and look up his if you just want the, let's say, year of birth, just go ahead and look at his colleagues with whom he has taken pics. Let's say for example, if let's say for XYZ the guy's name is, let's say, Mr. Smith, and he has another friend whose name is Mr. Adam, and they went to the same school and they were in the same class and everything. So it's probably that he might be, let's say for example, Mr. Adams' age is 1989. So the Mr. Smith's age would probably be 1988 or 89 or 90. He won't be much bigger or lesser than that. So you can just go ahead and try all these options out, and you can get at the date of birth. So now you know how you can go ahead and gather such information just by looking at someone's Facebook profile. You don't even want to know who his friends are. Just by looking at his photos that he have uploaded, you can get loads of information. So in security research, Facebook is called as a treasure trove of personally identifiable information. A report by Imperva revealed that users' general information can often include date of birth, home addresses, and sometimes even the mother's maiden name, allowing hackers to access this and other websites and applications created by targeting spear phishing campaigns. In detail, a concept called friend mapping is also there, when an attacker can get further knowledge of a user's friend circle, having access their account and posing as a trusted friend. They may even cause some mayhem or damage, and these can include transfer of funds and even extortion. So when asked why Facebook is so important to hackers, then the Imperva security senior strategist Noah Barsioff said that people also add work friends on Facebook. So a team leader, let's say for example, can be identified, and this can lead to a corporate data being accessed. So you can go ahead and gather information, create fake accounts and gather information from there. So in more extreme cases, even if Facebook's administrator rights can be accessed, although it is said that it requires more effort on the hacker's side and it is not prevalent, but it is a holy grail of attackers, as it provides a hacker with data of all the users and not just one user. So in protection, it is set out to rule that you need to go ahead and only access the website when you are using the SSL security across the whole website, but that's also not that effective, because people can also do man-in-the-middle attacks and they can also strip the SSL layer off. So nowadays everything is possible. So these are the ways as to how we can go ahead and get into footprinting. Now the next question that you would be asking is why footprinting. So I'll get deeper into that, but that would be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be getting into much more information about the ethical hacking and why it is considered as illegal hacking, and I'll help you more understand about the footprinting tools, their threats and their countermeasures. So welcome to the next tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So I have told you in the previous tutorial about anonymous footprinting, pseudo anonymous footprinting, and loads of other stuff. So you might be thinking that why footprinting is much important, but you must have already had some random idea as to why it is that important and what kind of strategy it is exactly. So it allows, in terms of security for companies, it allows attackers to know about the complete security posture of the organization, and it is not good, trust me guys. It reduces the attacker's area to specific range of IP address, network, domain names, even remote access. It even allows them to build their own information database about the target's organization security and their weakness to take appropriate action. And it is also easy for them to get the actual environment they are going to break, and they can also go ahead and create a home environment in the same way that they have in the organization. So for attackers to build a hacking strategy, there are a few things. That is knowing security posture, performing footprinting on target organization in a systematic and a methodological manner. They will be able to get information or complete profile of the organization's security posture. It will also go ahead and reduce their area of attack because they will get a specific amount of IP addresses within which they know that okay, this company has only used this set of IP addresses, and it will be easier for them to go ahead and hack into them because he already knows what can be. So he just have to guess some specific random things, and by doing a good amount of social engineering, he will even get that. After that, we have building information database. As I told you, going ahead and creating a virtual network at home based on the similar organization structure. And then finally drawing the network map, that is combining footprinting techniques such as tracert tool, which allows the attacker to create network diagrams of the target's organization network presence. This map this map network represents the understanding of the target's internet footprint, and these network diagrams can also guide in the attack. So coming back to the next point, there are a few objectives of footprinting. So these objectives, the major objectives of footprinting include collecting the target's network information, system information, and the organization information. And by carrying out footprinting at various network levels, you can gain information such as network blocks, network services, application, system architecture, intrusion detection systems, specific IP addresses, access controls, and many more. And with footprinting, information such as employee names, phone numbers, contact addresses, designations, work experience, and even the employee ID and what is their ID and what is specific amount of salary they get, even each and everything can be obtained. So the first thing that a hacker would do would be to collect information. That would be its objectives. The network information can be gathered by performing a whois database analysis or trace routing, and it includes domain name, internal domain names, network blocks, IP addresses of reachable system, rogue websites or private websites, TCP and UDP services that the company is running, their access control mechanisms, that is ACLs, and networking protocols, VPN access points, intrusion detection system and how they detect and how they are running on which protocols, analog or digital telephone numbers, authentication mechanisms, and system enumeration. So these things come under the collecting network information. After that, we have the collecting system information such as the users and group names. And if you go and check into an organization, they don't have any specific name, such as each the users they have. The username is almost the same. Let's say for my PC, let's say if the name of my company is let's say XYZ, or let me take a specific random name, let's say Mercedes, for example. So the name of my company is Mercedes. So the name of the system's users would be Mercedes 1, Mercedes 2, Mercedes 3, and Mercedes hash PRO1, Mercedes hash PRO2. So it's quite easy to gather. Even if you get one specific user's name, it will be easier to guess the other user's name. And by that you can also get the group names, system banners, routing tables, their SMP information, system architecture as to which system and they are using, and they will be able to go ahead and try to override the hardware by, if they get access to the hardware, then getting remote access to the system machine, system names, and passwords. So after they collect the system information, that final thing would be to gather the organization's information, which would be the employee details, organization's websites, company directory, location details, addresses, phone numbers, backgrounds of organization, news articles, and all these things. So till now I have discussed the footprinting concepts. Now I'll go ahead and discuss what are the threats that footprinting gives you. The footprinting threat section familiarizes you with the threats associated with footprinting, such as social engineering, system and network attacks, and corporate espionage. These include attackers gathering valuable system and network information such as account details, operating system, installed applications, network components, servers, and many more. And these finally lead to business loss. So the first and the foremost important thing would be social engineering, because it is if any other attack fails, such as let's say if you have an updated Windows 8, or if in your PC, organization you're not at all using any version of Windows, which is quite not possible, but let's say to be secure you're only using Linux, so that you don't have to let's say worry about any person hacking your organization. Or if you have applied each and every patch of Linux, Ubuntu or Fedora, whichever you're using, or even Red Hat, but still hackers can gain access via social engineering. So what is social engineering? Social engineering means without using any intrusion methods, hackers can directly or indirectly collect information through persuasion or any other means, and the crucial information gathered by the hackers and the employers without their consent. So this is a very unique method. Let's say for example you're working in an IT company, or you're working, you are just a normal, let's say normal person working in a company, and one day you are at home, and some random day you just get a call stating that if the person may have gathered already your, let's say your user ID, or not user ID, he may already have your employee ID. Yeah, he may have gathered there by just looking over you when you're just going ahead and crossing your subway line on the road, and he has your employee ID. So he will just call you and tell you, hello sir, I'm calling you from this company. That means the same company in which you are working. Let's say your name is Adam and you're working for an XYZ company, and this guy sees you and he wants to hack your organization, and so he gathers all the information. So he sees you passing on the road with your ID in your neck, and your employee ID is ABCD@123, let's say for example. So he will just go ahead and call you, hello sir, I believe your name is Mr. Adam. You'll say yes, and then he will tell you, okay, so I believe I am calling you from your company, that's XYZ. I am the network manager over here, and due to some reason I'm unable to access your password to your PC. And so can you just help me with that? And before I proceed, I believe ID would be abcd@123. So you will think, okay, this guy knows my address, he knows my name, he knows my employee ID, so he must be the real guy who is from the IT department. So you will just go ahead and give him out the username and then password, and then finally he will have what he needs, and he will just go ahead and he won't even go ahead and directly disconnect the call. He will just tell you, okay, thank you sir, I'm able to access your system now, and by the time you access your system tomorrow, I will have full maintenance done on your system. And he will close the call in a very good manner, and you will think, okay, I just helped this guy, so you will feel good. But when the next day you reach the office, and you will come to know somebody has already accessed all the information, and you are the person who gave the information, and you are the only person responsible, and you will be the one who will be serving jail time, or perhaps you may not even get another job because of your insecurity that you performed. So these are the ways as to how any person can gather information via social engineering attack. After that, we have system network attacks, information leakage, privacy loss, corporate espionage, and business loss. So these are different ways as to how we can go ahead and gather information on a specific person. We are using loads of other techniques, and yes. After that, we have footprinting tools, which I will be showing you some practical stuff as to how we can go ahead and gather information. And the most important one is, which I will be showing you later on, would be the Google hacking database. You won't even need any kind of specific tool to hack into any stuff. You would just need a computer. You won't even need any software to install. You won't even need the administrator right to go ahead and just gather information. You just need a computer with the internet access, and just the access of Google is more than enough for you. So yes. So I will be teaching you that in the next tutorial. That is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be teaching you about the footprinting tools and gathering information via Google hacking database. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in this tutorial, I'll be teaching you more about the footprinting tools and gathering information via search engines, Netcraft, leak extractor, and loads of other things. So to start, what a hacker would do would be to find the company's external and internal URLs. A company's external and internal URLs provide a lot of useful information to the attacker. And these URLs describe the company and provide details such as company mission and vision, history, products, and services offered. So if you want to find the external URL of a company, you need to follow some specific steps. Open any search engine such as Google or Bing. Type the name of the target of company in the search box and press enter. The internal URL is used for accessing the company's vault server directly inside the corporate network, and this internal URL helps you to access the internal functions of a company. Most companies use common formats for internal URLs, and therefore if you know the external URL of a company, you can easily predict the internal URL through trial and error method. So these internal URLs provide insight into different departments and business units in an organization. You can also find internal URLs of your organization using Netcraft tool, and I'll show you where you can go ahead and download that. So I'll just go ahead and open this, and in order for you to go down start Netcraft, you can just type Netcraft. It has its own specific website, and yes, we have over here. Let's start it. So Netcraft deals with web server, web hosting, let's say share market analysis, operating system detection. It provides a free anti-phishing toolbar for Firefox as well as Internet Explorer browsers. The Netcraft tool avoids phishing attacks and protects the internet users from fraudsters, and it checks the risk rate as well as the hosting location of websites we visit. So as you can see over here, we have different things as to we can do data mining, and like similar to Bitcoin, and then we can check the performance, and we have lots of other things over here. So if you want, you can go ahead and just do some random stuff over here, and you can also check the application stress testing. Let's go ahead and check that if you have any vulnerability in any random pages. So as you can see that we have but you need to go ahead and download, and you need to go ahead and buy these from them. That is what a normally company does. But attackers, as you know, that attackers normally don't use these things. They normally go and download it from somewhere else, or they start phishing. And as you can see that we have loads of things over here which you can gather information about. anti-phishing links, and gathering information about these things. So these are things that you can go ahead and download. Let's say, for example, if someone has created a phishing website for Facebook or something else, then you have these phishing extensions that you can go and download for Firefox as well as Chrome over here. And then these guys won't be able to visit that specific link because it would have been banned by the administrator already. So these are things which Netcraft actually checks. After that, we have let's check. We have the link extractor. So let's go ahead and check the link extractor. It would be http www.webmaster. I'll just go and type link extractor, and we should be having a webmaster web page over here. And link extractor is okay, here we have it. So link extractor is a link extraction utility that allows you to choose between external and internal URLs, and it will return a plain text of URLs linked to an HTML list. You can use this utility to competitor sites. Let's say, for example, just to check, I'll just go ahead and check over here, support.microsoft. Let's go ahead and, yeah, I know the spelling is wrong, so I'll just open this and I'll just copy paste it over here, and then we'll go ahead and check what are the errors that we get. Okay, I'll just copy it from over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and check what we get. As you can see over here that, okay, unique error from time and date error. Okay, let's check extract links. Okay, we don't have any extracted links because, okay, let's check. Let's check if we have HRES. I don't think we have any HREFS links, so let's check if we have it for SRCs. No, close this. Okay, so as you can see that we don't actually have any specific extraction for that, as you can see, because that website is already secure. So these are just examples, and after that you can go ahead and get extractions for different websites. You don't need any specific thing for that. You can go ahead and get information about external and internal about any specific website that you want. So that's just an option. After that, we have what we have over here would be Google Earth, Maps, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Plus, and email tracking tools. So I'll go ahead and give you a deep detail about how Google Earth and Maps can be useful, and you may have no idea that it's used to gather information, or you can even look into a specific organization to get the location of a specific place. Information such as physical location of the organization plays a vital role in the hacking process. This information can be obtained using the footprinting technique, and in addition to the physical location, we can also collect information such as surrounding public Wi-Fi spots, hotspots that may prove to be a way to break into the organization's network. So attackers with the knowledge of target's organization location may attempt a dumpster diving or surveillance, social engineering, and other non-technical attacks to gather much more information about the target organization. Once the location of the target is known, detailed satellite images of the location can be obtained using various sources on the internet and many more. Attackers can also use this information to gain unauthorized access to buildings, wired and wireless network systems, and so on. So Google Earth is a valuable tool for hacking that allows you to find a location or point and zoom into that location to explore. You can even access 3D images that depict most of the Earth in high resolution detail. So I'll just go ahead and show you some specific things that you can go ahead and check into Google Maps, providing a street view feature that provides you a series of images of buildings as well as its surroundings, including Wi-Fi networks. Attackers may use Google Maps to find or locate entrances to buildings, security cameras, gates, places to hide, weak spots in perimeter fences, utility resources like electricity connections to measure the distance between objects, and many more. So I'll just go ahead and show you some example as to how we can go ahead and gather information about that. So I'll just go ahead and open Google, and I'll just check. Let's say, let's check. We want to go ahead and gather information about cameras. So let's check how Google Map can be useful to go ahead and give us information. Let's say cameras, or let's say let me get the specific term: traffic cameras in Mumbai. So we have over here, as you can see, we have different cameras, and I'll just go ahead and check into maps. And if I go ahead and zoom into here, I don't know exactly where the cameras are, but if I go ahead and zoom into over here exact places, then I can go ahead and get an extreme amount of information. Let's check if we could go ahead and get any random camera. Let's go ahead and check over here at the flyovers, and I'll show you how we can go ahead and gather information. And if a hacker is good enough, if he could have already, let's say, if he already has any specific range of IP addresses, then he can even narrow down and get access to that camera as well. So let's check, and I think this is the deepest I can go, so I won't be able to zoom any further. And let's get the satellite view. Let's check if I'm okay, perfect. So over here I'm getting the exact detailed information about where cars are, where they are not. So just let it start perfectly. Okay, so I don't think there are any specific cameras over here. I'll go back to my normal mode. Okay, so but you can see that let's say we have these corporate buildings over here. So if you go ahead and check Google Earth and cameras, if I go ahead and get let's say 3D view of that, let's see if I could go ahead and get some 3D view where it is exactly. Okay, let's take this Julius for example. We have this. So if we want any detailed information, as you can see, I can have this information handed to me without anything. I can see how it looks like from the inside, and I won't even have to actually manually go over there. So I'll just go ahead and enlarge this a bit. Okay, so as you can see that we can gather much information just by looking at the Google Maps or the Google Earth, which is quite useful to us. So this is just an example. Perfect. So as you can see over here, I have all the information that I need, and I can even go ahead and check the cameras. Okay, I think probably we should have some cameras over here. And is this the 3D view? Okay, I don't know, but I believe that last time I went into a specific. Why I'm unable to zoom it in much further, but sometimes you are able to zoom in much further, and you can go ahead and gather much better information about this. So this is just an example of gathering information via let's say Google Maps. So after that we have Google Earth and other stuff. We have Facebook, as I told you, how we can go ahead and gather information via that. We have email tracking tools, and LinkedIn, Google Plus, and then we finally have the Google hacking database, which is far much useful than anything else. So I'll just go ahead and show you a quick example for that as to how we can go ahead and access different databases using Google. So but that would be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial I'll be starting you with Google hacking database. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So till now I have shown you how we can go ahead and get access into that, or how we can go ahead and gather information about any specific people. But this time now I will actually go ahead and gather much better information, and I will teach you how we can go ahead and gather information, and I will show you by gathering some actual information, let's say such as gathering credit card details or debit card details of any specific person. But the thing I would be showing you would be the expired credit cards and not the actual credit cards, because I don't want to go ahead and spoil any random person's image. So let's start by normal stuff such as Meta, Google and Goling Scan. Before I proceed starting with these tools, I'd like to tell you something about email footprinting, how we can go ahead and gather information about that. So if someone has sent you a random email, then what you need to do is just go ahead and you want to go ahead and check the geolocation or any specific thing. Email tracking is a method that helps you to monitor as well as track the emails of a particular user. This kind of tracking is possible through digitally time-stamped records to reveal the time and date and the geolocation, the read duration, proxy detection as to when it was read and from where it was read, and things similar to that. It provides information about the server, type of server used by the recipient as well. So similarly, you can also go ahead and gather similar information using the email header. So you can just go ahead and open a random Google account, and you can go ahead and check if someone has sent you an email. You can go ahead and check the show original option on the right hand side. Then you can go ahead and gather much more information about the IP addresses, from where it was sent, and much more. So after tracking email, let's come back to our original point of Meta, Google hacking database, and the hack honeypots and Google hacks that we can see. So these things are quite different from the normal footprinting things. So these are the tools used by Google to go ahead and gather information about us. So footprinting using Google hacking techniques is quite different. Google hacking refers to the art of creating complex search engines queries, and in MySQL probably. So if you can construct proper queries, you can retrieve valuable data about a target company or person through Google search results. Through Google hacking, an attacker tries to find websites that are vulnerable to numerous exploits and vulnerabilities. So, and this can be accomplished with the help of Google hacking database, that is GHDB, a database of queries to identify sensitive data. And Google operators can help finding in the required text and avoiding irrelevant data. And using advanced Google operators, attackers can locate specific strings of text such as specific versions of vulnerable application. So I'll be teaching you today about how we can go ahead and gather much more information. I'll show you some basic examples at first, and then finally I'll go ahead and teach you how we can go ahead and gather, let's say, how hackers gather credit card information via internet, just for example. So to start with, we'll start with the first thing, that is period site. The period site operator in Google helps to find only pages related to a specific URL. So I'll just go ahead and show you a few examples. Let's say I want to gather information about, let's say, just to be precise, let's say I want to find information about a specific person or a specific vehicle on only a specific site. So the most famous site for a vehicle would be, let's say, for example, for a bike, it would be for XBHP website, and I want to want information about some random, let's say, some random bike or a person. So for this tutorial, I'll be using a bike because I don't want to go ahead and break any privacy laws of any specific person. So I'll just take a random bike. Let's say, for example, we have, let's say, a random bike for Honda, and I'll take a Honda, let's say any random bike, let's say Honda Activa, which is quite famous these days, and I want it only on a specific website. So I'll just type site : and I'll type www.xbhp.com. So when I go and hit enter, I'll only get results related to xbhp.com. As you can see that all these websites are only of xbhp. So let's say as my name, I would be checking if I want to go ahead and gather information about a specific person. Let's say my any random person says Adam Smith. So I'll type Adam Smith site : www.facebook.com, and when I hit enter, I'll get all the profiles with the name of Adam Smith on the Facebook. So I don't need to actually go ahead and search any random person or any go through any random links. It's all the links are quite visible by using the site. So the site operator in Google helps to find only pages that belong to a specific URL. After that, we have all in URL option. This operator finds the required pages or websites by restricting the results containing all query terms. Then we have the in URL. So that means that if I want to search anything, and if I type, let's say, I want any random name inside the URL, as you can see that we have Adam Smith over here. So I'll just type, let's say, I'm going to type, I'll take a different name, and I'll type in URL, that means site will be facebook.com, and in URL I want, let's say, Adam. I'll take a different name this time, let's say Michelle. So as you can see that I'll get all the websites with the name of Facebook, and with the URL we have that has Michelle inside that, only with the specific thing. So in this way I can go ahead and gather information. So in this way, if I go ahead and keep on adding different, let's say, different queries to this, I'll get much more information to that. After we have all in title, and it all in title command that restricts results to only pages that contain all the queries that you have specified. So if I go ahead and type, let's say, all in title, and I'll type, let's say, network camera, and if I go ahead and, let's say, I'll just open a random first link, so it will open all websites that has network camera in its title. And if I go ahead and see, okay, so this is not a good website, I'll just go ahead and check. Like, I'll open this one, so let's let that open. So as you can see that I can actually see the camera of this specific random location. I don't know where it is exactly, but I can see this thing. So you can see that it is live, and these other cameras are disabled, and this is the normal camera. Or if I go ahead and check this way, now you know that how we can go ahead and hack into any CCTV camera that we want. So after that, we have in title query that restricts results to only pages that contain query term that you have specified, and it only shows websites that mention the query term that you have. We have in anchor, so in anchor, and all in anchor text that results that restricts pages to containing all query terms you specify in the anchor text. So you might be wondering that what a hacker can do with Google hacking. If a target website is vulnerable to Google hacking, then the attacker can find information such as error messages that contain sensitive information, file containing passwords, or sensitive directories, or pages containing logon portals, pages containing network or vulnerability data, advisories, and server vulnerabilities. After that, we have Google Advanced Search option. As you can see that there are different search tools, and if you go ahead and click over here, you can see the Advanced Search option. So this will go ahead and search everything that you want, any specific thing, and it will use the Google queries automatically. But rather than this, I would always prefer using the queries if you want to gather any information. You can also use the cache query, and I'll show you. Let's say CACHE, and I'll type, let's say grinder. So I'll get all the things. As you can see over here, we have a small tick mark, and if I go ahead and check cached web page, it will take me to the cached web page that was used previously. So in this way, what a hacker can do is that, let's say I'll type site Flipkart. I'll just type www.amazon.in, and I'll type cache, let's say flash drive, and if I hit enter, let's see what we get. As you can see, we have everything starting with the site Amazon, and we have the cached. If I go ahead and check the cached web page, so if the let's say Amazon website is not clear in keeping the cache memories, then what may happen, let's say for example, the Amazon has this 3G data traveler, let's say on 30th of December, as let's say any specific. So any, let's say I want to, this has, let's say for example, on the 30th of December, the price of this data traveler would be, let's say 300 rupees, just to be it's a random amount. So it's a 300 rupees, and when I check it for today on the May of the next year, then I get the amount as 500 rupees, but I want the amount to be 300 rupees. So what I would do as a hacker, I would go ahead and open the cached web page of 30th December by going ahead and searching it over here inside Google, and once I go ahead have that, I'll go ahead and buy that, and the website will not even come to know that I have actually faked it with the cached web page. I'll show you one more example of that. I'll just type, let's say www.amazon.in, that is for India. So once I go and type this, I'll get all the cached web pages of this specific website, that's amazon.in. So if I go ahead and open this, these are all the cached web pages, and the amount would be quite different. Never put a space between a cache and the URL web address, because if you do that, then it would be quite different. So okay, yes, perfect. So this is what we need. because if you do that, as you can see that these are the prices. If I go ahead and enter a date over here, then it will give me the cached web page of that date. So let's see if the price for this for today is 1798, and tomorrow if it comes to, let's say, 2000 rupees, but I still want it for 1798, then I will, then after 10 to 15 days I'll go ahead and open the web page of today's date by entering the date over here as well, and I'll get the same amount, the same offer that was a few days ago. So after that we have the link a query that list web pages that have links to a specified web page. You can go ahead and use the link query as well. So in this way we have lots of other stuff such as note, link, related, example, and all in title. So these are just some small examples, and there should be no space between the specific word you are typing and the actual query. Only then you will be able to gather information about that. Let me show you one more example of that so you will get a clear idea. I'll just type, let's say, I'll type in title, let's say intranet, and I'll type in URL, I'll type intranet plus I'll type in text, I'll type human resources, and I'll hit enter. And so these are the intranet for those companies, and normally we should not be able to access this, but maybe they have not used their firewall in proper ways, and that is the reason why how I can go ahead and access these to their specific information. So the information gathered by the attackers can be used to perform social engineering attacks, and Google will filter for excessive use of advanced operators and drop the request with the help of intrusion prevention system. I think that they have a good firewall. That's the reason I am being banned over there. So let's go ahead and check this. Normally Google does not allow, but let's go ahead and check these web pages. If there are any faults, then if they don't have a good firewall, then we won't be able to access that. If they don't have one, then obviously they cannot go ahead and stop us. So here we are. So this thing is not allowed for us to see, or this is for the internet, but internet is always connected in some or the other way to a normal internet, and I should not be able to see these things, but since I have used this Google technique. So what Google does is that Google have two crawlers. One is a spider and another one is a crawler. These two things, no matter what information you upload or what email you do, each and everything is stored inside Google. So once you have uploaded something on the internet, it will be there on Google and anyone can find it. It's just a matter of time that the person has to know how to go ahead and access this. So this is the normal page that which I should not be able to access, but I am able to access this because they don't have a good firewall in place. Even this one I should not be able to access this one as well, but since I am able to access, that means even these people don't have a good firewall in place, and that's why I'm able to access this. I'll show you one more stuff which is quite dangerous for normal people to go ahead and access this, but I will still show you the CVV colon, let's say I'll type in text colon CVV. So I'll just go ahead and open this website. So once I go and open this website, what I would be getting would be a list of all the card details of all the random person data. So if you have, even once if you have swiped your card on the internet to purchase anything, that means I will have that on this web page. So it is just an example. Let me check. Okay, I'll just go and download this. If I don't have any exceptions, then I'll surely go ahead and show you. Okay, perfect. So, and when I go ahead and you can see that we have these things, but these are expired. We have the username, the MD5 hash file for the password, which if you have a good cracker such as Burp Suit or John the Ripper that we have on Kali Linux, I'll just go ahead and open it over here. I'll just go ahead and update. I forgot to upgrade it. Okay, no, fine, I won't want to upgrade it as of now. I'll just close this. So we have several MD5 cracking tools over here. As you can see that We have hash tools for the MD5 hash files. We have online attacks, and we have John the Ripper, hash identifier, and hashcat. Even OPH crack is a very good one. Rainbow cracking tools. So these are different things through which we can go and crack the MD5 file, and we have the email ID. So you can see how easily we can go ahead and crack this, and you can even see that this expired just 2 months back. So if I am a random black hat hacker, then I would probably check that which one is useful, and I will surely go ahead and use this for malicious purposes. Let me check if I have any active one. Feb, March, April. This expired last month. It's the American Express card, and even this expired last month. Okay, so I don't actually have any active one, and it's actually quite good that I don't have any active, let's say, any active card over here, because if one of you person watching this video is a malicious one, and probably use that for illegal purpose. But it's just a way as to how I can go ahead and show you. If I just modify this with something different, such as if I go ahead and insert a date to put inside that a text file, let's say only for 2015, then I will get all the card numbers which expires in 2015. If I go ahead and use 2016 or 17, 18, similarly I will get each and everything related to that. So I'll just go ahead and delete this so that no one else sees that. Perfect. So this is just an example as to how we can go ahead and gather information, and Google Hacking Database is quite useful in this thing. After that, we have the ZenMap hacker and the honeypot option. So starting with MetaGoofle. MetaGoofle is an information gathering tool designed for extracting, let's say, metadata of public documents, that is from PDF, doc, or docx, pptx, xlsx file belonging to a target company. I probably won't suggest using MetaGoofle, even though it's quite famous. We have one more extractor which is quite useful in for today, and I'll just go ahead and show you that. I don't exactly remember the name, so I'll just EXIF tool. Yeah, EXIF tool, perfect. So EXIF tool is quite useful in gathering information. Even if you have an image of a random person, you can go to this website and download this. So what it does is that, let's say if you have taken a normal pic from your camera, and let's say for example you have a Sony camera, Sony cell phone, and if you have an Android lollipop, then you would probably go ahead and name your username. Let's say your name is Mr. Adam, so you'll probably go ahead and name it as Mr. Adam. So if you go ahead and do that and you click your picture and you send it to someone else, any random person who has that image can go ahead and gather the username from which cell phone you took the pic, just by using this metadata tool and applying it on executing this with your image. So it doesn't matter from where he got the image, from a website or from via USB traveling or via WhatsApp, people sending it over there. It's just a matter of time that he needs to have that image and this EXIF tool, and he can get all the information such as from where did you crack it. And I think that probably we have EXIF tool over here. Let me check if we have it already installed in Cal Linux. Perfect, we have it. So I'll just type -help. Let's check if we could get all the information. Okay, I would have to consult the documentation, but I will show you as to how we can go down. Let me just copy one of the files from over here from my computer, and let's say I'll just go ahead and copy it from over here, and I'll just try to paste it over here if I'm able to. Okay, perfect. What I'll do is I'll just go and type EXIF tool /desktop I'll just go and type desktop / let's say we have, perfect. I'll hit enter. So as you can see that I have over here the course text file, how much byte, but it's just a simple text file. If I want to gather much more information, let me just see if I have any PDF documents over here. Okay, let me check. Okay, great, we have a PDF document. So I'll just go and paste it over here. Okay, I don't want this. I'll just paste it over here. Perfect. And I'll just go ahead and execute the EXIF tool. So I'll just type EXIF tool, and I'll type desktop, and I'll type desktop Corona, perfect. Now hit enter. And as you can see that I have all the information I want over here. I have the name, when it was modified or created, and it was on the 7th of March, April, at 2 o'clock at plus 5 what was the time. It's a PDF application. It was not linearized, and we have the creation date, which is 2013, and the website from where where the guy downloaded it was it/ebooks, and it was, so he downloaded this PDF file on this computer in 2013 or from this website. This is the image file. As you can see that we have, from where did it create, he created this in Adobe InDesign CS6 in Windows, and this is quite a useful information. And yes, so these are quite the useful information that you can get just by EXIF tool. And if you know how to extract these tools in a proper way, in a much advanced way, then you can even get the username of that person who created it. So that's just quite an example as to how we can do that. Coming on to our next part would be the goaling scanner. So the goaling scanner removes the cache from your searches and collects and displays only vulnerable site links. Thus it allows you to find vulnerabilities wide open to Google and Google bots. We have Site Digger, which searches Google's cache to look for vulnerabilities, errors, configuration issues. Google Hacks, as I told you, it's a compilation of carefully crafted Google searches that expose novel functionalities from Google search and map services. We have BileSuit, that stands for bidirectional link extractor, and it then applies a simple statistical weighing algorithm to reduce the websites that have the strongest relationship with the target site. Then we have Google Honeypot, which is the reaction to a new type of malicious web traffic actually, and it is a search engine for hackers. Google Hack Honeypot, and you can go and check it at ghh.sourceforge.net. And GHH implements the honeypot theory to provide additional security to your web presence. We have Gmap Catcher, Search Dignity, Google Hacking Database, as I showed you, and finally the GooScan. GooScan is a tool that automates queries against Google search appliances, and these queries are designed to find the potential vulnerabilities on your websites. So that would be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be starting with what exactly would we have to do after gathering information as to the whois lookup, the DNS interrogation, and the chosen search engine and the trace route. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So today, in this tutorial, I'll be teaching you about the whois lookup, DNS interrogation, and this chosen search engine. But before I proceed with that, in the previous tutorial, I taught you about the Google Hacking Database. So if you are thinking that that is it for Google Hacking Database, then it is not. If you have the proper queries, then you can find anything that you want, any kind of information, if it is on internet. So I'll show you an example or the best way where you can go and gather much better information about Google hacking. So I'll just type. So there's a specific website, this exploit-db.com, and you can go and check it over here. You can find n number of queries that will help you gather information, getting into security cameras or finding someone's in detail information, any person's information, any company's information and stuff. So you can see that you have over here the in URL, and you can check over here which vulnerable servers are and adversaries and vulnerabilities. So these are just examples. I'll show you. Here we have the different types of exploits to go ahead and hack into specific things, the shell codes, and each and everything that you want you will get over here. We have one more website. Let me check. I believe this is for the same one. You can go ahead and find all. Let me check. We have the Google hacking queries, and you will be able to find all types of Google hacking queries. Let me check. I'll just type all Google hacks, and okay, I believe that it has been moved to GIT hub, but here you can find all types of queries that you need. And yep, this is over here. This is the Google DMG for the MacBook Pro, and this is a tar.g for Linux. and these are the various things if you want. So you can go and directly in this is for the Windows, I believe. You can just download this and you'll find all the queries that you want. And the one which I have showed you are the more popular ones, such as InTitle and Insight and InText. These are all things are quite popular tools, but I have shown you only 5 to 10 tools, whereas there are hundreds or 150 200 different types of different queries that can help you gather information about any specific thing that you want. So that would be the end of the Google hacking database. Now coming on to our main point, let's just start. The Whois lookup. Whois lookup is a query and response protocol used for querying databases that stores registered users or assignees of an internet source, such as a domain, an IP address block, or an autonomous system, something like that. So the Whois databases are maintained by regional internet registries, and it contains personal information of the domain owners. They maintain a record called a lookup table that contains all information associated with the particular network, domain, and host. And anyone can connect and query to this server to get information about particular networks, domains, and hosts. An attacker can send the query to appropriate Whois server to obtain information such as the target domain name, contact details of the owner, expiry date, creation date, etc. The Whois server will respond to the query with respect to information, and then the attacker can use this information, create a map of the organization network, trick domain owners with social engineering once he gets his or her contact details, and then get details of the internal details of the network. So I'll just show you as to how we can go ahead and visit the Whois website. I'll just type Whois and I should get probably the domain website. Perfect. Here you can see the result analysis of a Whois lookup obtained by using the Whois services. Both these services allow to perform the Whois lookup by entering the target's domain or the IP address. The domain tool service providers Whois information such as registrant information, email, everything can be found over here. So let me check if I want to my companies. Let's say I'll use my company's ID, so I'll just go ahead and copy it over from here, and I'll just type it over here. Let's see if I'm able to get the information. Okay, as you can see that this is already registered, but you can go ahead and change specific things. You can get all the information. I can check over here that the name of my institution's website is EduCBA. It was registrar was godaddy.com. This is the Whois server, and the referral URL would be this one. Name server, it was created on 9th of October 2012, and the expiration would be 2020. That means we have it for next 5 to 6 years. The last updated was November 14, that is last year. So you can see you can get any kind of information. Let's check something different. Let's check Microsoft. I'll just type the best one, that is www.google.com. Let's go ahead and search. So you can see that you can get any kind of information that you want, the registrant, DNS admin, and you can convert anyone over here where it is located, the main place that's in Mountain View, California, and administrative contact information is over here, Microsoft.com. If I type Microsoft.com, then I'll just check. And type. Okay, I won't get it. Okay, I'll just copy this and paste it over here, and I'll just remove these invalid characters. Yep, perfect. Yep. So you can see that it was registrar was Mark Monitor, same as Google. It was updated on 2011. It was created on 1991, and this would be the expiration date. It was last updated on 25th April 2013. The database, that means the Whois database for the Microsoft. So in this way, you can go ahead and get any information, the admin name, the organization name. These are the basic information that you can get about anybody. So the Whois lookup is very important. The administrative content information, you can get anything related to that. So after that, we have the Whois lookup smart tool, and I'll show you the smart tool, that is Whois. I'll just type tamils.com. Yeah, perfect. So this is the smart Whois tool, which is a useful network information utility that allows you to look up all the available information about IP address, host name or domain, including country, state or province, city, name of network provider, administrator and technical support. So you can get any information that you want by going ahead and downloading this, and this tool is very important for the hackers, the owners of the IP address block, registered date of domain, and a lot of other things you will be able to find about that. So besides these, there are different other tools such as country Whois, that is Tamos. We have landtricks.com, and that is, it gets information about domains and addresses on the internet. We have batch and weak IP converter, that is www.networkmost.com. Batch and weak converter is a special tool, network tool that to work with IP addresses. It combines domains to IP converter, batch ping, tracert, Whois, and it allows you to look up the IP address for a single or a list of domain names and vice versa. We have the caller IP, which is basically IP and port monitoring software that displays the incoming and outgoing connections. I'll just open this, and perfect. So, and then we have, so there are different types of things such as hot Whois and Whois 2000, Whois Pro that we can go and find at labshins.com. Whois Pro is a network information software that allows you to look up all the available information about a domain, including country, state or province, city, administrator and technical support contact information as well. Active Whois is a network tool to find information about the owners of an IP address or internet domains. You can determine the country, person and postal information of the owner by using the active Whois, that is at www.johnru.com. And we have the Whois domain, that is Whois this domain, that is www.nirsoft.net. And Whois this domain is a domain registration lookup utility that allows you to get information about a registered domain. It automatically connects to the right Whois server, retrieves the Whois record of the domain and gives it out, and it supports the both generic as well as the country code domains as well. So you can go and download these things and check up as per your need. And after that, we have the most important thing, that would be the DNS interrogation. I won't be teaching you that in this tutorial. That would be it for the Whois lookup. In the next tutorial, I'll be completing with the DNS interrogation, chosen search engine and the trace route. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in this tutorial, we will be taking a look at footprinting methodology of DNS footprinting. So this section describes as to how to extract the DNS information and the DNS interrogation tools. So attacker can gather DNS information to determine key hosts in the network, and they can perform social engineering attacks to gather more information. So DNS footprinting allows you to obtain information about the DNS zone data, and this DNS zone data includes DNS domain names, computer names, IP addresses and much more about a particular network. And I don't need to say anything specific what will happen if then hackers go ahead and get the IP addresses or the computer names. So the attacker performs the DNS footprinting on the target network in order to obtain the information about DNS. He or she then uses the gathered DNS information to determine the key host in the network, and then he or she will perform the social engineering attack to gather more information. DNS footprinting can be performed using the DNS interrogation tools, and we have several other tools over here. I'll just go ahead and show it out to you. And just before I proceed, you might be wondering, if you are wondering that I'm here to teach Kali Linux, but I'm still showing you tools that can be downloaded and installed even on Mac or let's say Windows. Yes, I'm showing you these tools because this is just an overview of what footprinting is and which tools are available. But when you go ahead and use Kali Linux, these tools are already available inside them. You don't need to install them specifically or install them Okay, just a moment. Okay, you don't need to install them specifically as to any random or update them, because every time you go and update your repositories, these tools get updated on their own, and you don't have any need to go and gather all the tools and make your own operating system, because you have all of these tools available inside Kali Linux. So if you just to show, I can go ahead and show you some tools that are available for gathering DNS or WHOIS. So just let this, okay. So as you can see over here, we have these security tools, and for information gathering, we have DNS analysis for intrusion detection systems such as antiviruses and all those. We have IDS identification, live host identification, network scanners, and OS fingerprinting tools. And the best of them is the ZenMap and the Nmap, which can almost give you all the information, if not, or it can give you most of the information, if not all, to go ahead and do some social engineering attacks on your client. So before that, I'll just go ahead and show you what these tools are and how they work. So I'll just go ahead and open dnsstuff.com. Okay, so this is one website, and we have dnsstuff.com, and it is possible to extract DNS information about IP addresses, mail server extension, DNS lookups, WHOIS lookups, etc. And if you want information about a target company, it is possible to extract its range of IP addresses utilizing the IP routing lookup of DNS stuff. And if the target network allows unknown or unauthorized users to transfer DNS zone data, then it is very easy for a hacker to obtain the information about DNS with the help of DNS interrogation tools. Once you send the query using DNS interrogation tool to the DNS server, the server will respond to you with a record structure that contains information about the target DNS. And DNS records provide important information about location and types of server and where they are. So the important points for DNS server would be DNS interrogation would be points to a host IP address. It can also give out point to domains, mail server, and name server. Canonical naming allows you to alias the host, and it can also indicate the authority for the domain, service records, and it can also map IP addresses. So there are a few different tools such as network-tools.com and different other websites. Performing a DNS query available at DNS Queries is a tool that allows you to perform a DNS query on any host. So there is one more website which is far better than the DNS stuff, and it is DNS Queries. And yes, here we have it. This is a tool that allows you to perform a DNS query on any host, and each domain name is structured in host. And the DNS, that's the domain name system, allows anyone to translate the domain name or the host name in an IP address to contact via the TCP/IP protocol. There are several types of queries responding to the implementation types of DNS records, such as MX, AAAA, CNAME, and SOA. So if you just want me to go ahead and give an example, let's check if I'm able to go ahead and do it for Microsoft.com. Just copy it and I'll just paste it. And okay, I'll just type invalid domain. As you can see that here it is my it's given over here my host name of my company and the geolocation of my address as to where I have been located and much more. So by these way you can go ahead and gather much more information by putting a host name or a domain name or anything that you want. So this is just an example, and let's say I just wanted to show you something. Let me check. This should work. Let's check. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, I have all the parent zone DNS server's address. We have the IP address starting from 193.193.221, and you can also go ahead and see the TDLP parent check. And so these are all the information that you can get, and you can go ahead and relate all the IP addresses that you get via these DNS servers. And the best part is that this may seem a bit complicated to you, and that is why we have Kali Linux to go ahead and just simplify this out for us, just by typing a simple few lines of code, not even few lines, just one line of code, and you will have all of these under your feet. So you can click and run this tool button, and the DNS information for Microsoft.com will be displayed over here as shown. And we have several other DNS interrogation tools, such as kloth.net. If you want, you can just write it down, and I'll just go ahead and show it off to you. kloth.com, and I'll just okay. We have klot dot. Okay, I'll leave. Yeah, klot. Okay, I believe it has been changed to klot.net. Yeah, perfect. We have klot.net. Then we have my DNS tools, period info, dnsstuff.com, networktools.com, nirsoft.com. That's nirsoft, and DNS watch info, www.domain-tools, and much more. So the next step after retrieving the DNS information is to gather network related information. So we will discuss network footprinting in this tutorial. That is a method to gather network related information, and I will also go ahead and describe how to locate the network range, determine the IP operating system, traceroute, and using the traceroute tools. So in order to locate the network range to perform network footprinting, you need to gather the basic and the important information about the target organization, such as what the organization does, who they work for, and what type of work they perform. The answer to this question give you an idea about the internal structure of the target. After gathering the aforementioned information, an attacker can proceed to find the network range of a target system. He or she can get much more detailed information from the appropriate regional registry database regarding IP allocation and nature of allocation. Two popular traceroute tools are NeoTrace and VisualTrace. So I'll just go down. We have over here NeoTrace, and the other one would be Visual Route. Sorry. So we have these two awesome traceroute tools, and obtaining, I don't have these tools installed as of now, but if you're having Kali Linux, then you don't need to worry about that again. So that is the best part of Kali Linux, that you have everything under one place and you don't need to buy anything or install anything differently, and you have everything inside just one operating system. And obtaining private IP addresses can be useful for the attacker, and the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, that's IANA, they have reserved the following 3 blocks of IP address space for private internet. That's 10.0. I'll just go ahead and write that down. I'll just open my notepad. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. So they have already assigned, you can say, as these 3 blocks of IP addresses for private internets. This is the first one, the second one, and this is the 10/8 prefix, which is actually used. And then we have 172.16.0.0 to 172.31.5.255, and over here we have the 172.16 by 12 prefix. And last one that we have is normally we know that because we all have our computers assigned to that IP address, so 192.168.0.0, starting from that to 192.168.255, and these have 192.168 by 16 prefix. Perfect. So yeah, perfect. So the network range gives you an idea about how the network is, which machines in the network are alive, and it helps to identify the network topology, access control device or operating system used in the target network. And to find the network range of the target network, enter the server's IP address, which we have gathered in who is footprinting in the ARIN who is database search tool. And you can go ahead, and if you just don't know what is ARIN, I'll just go ahead and go it out for you. .arin.net/knowledge/ris/rs.html. So I don't know whether this one is still working, but I'll just go ahead and copy paste it over here. Yeah, I believe we have it. Okay, so and once you have this, you can go ahead and check it over here and enter the server's IP address in the search who is text box over here, and anything over here, this search who is text box. And you will get the network range of the target network. If the DNS servers are not set up correctly, the attacker has a good chance of obtaining a list of internal machines on server. And also sometimes if an attacker traces a route to a machine, he or she can easily get the internal IP address of the gateway, which might be useful. So just let's check. If I go ahead and type 207.46.232.182, let's check if I'm able to gather information about that. Okay, perfect. So as you can see that the CIDR is 207.46 divided by 16 prefix. This is for the Microsoft Global.net, and it has direct assignment. And if you try to see much more information, this is the Microsoft Corporation, and it's a one Microsoft way. It has Redmond inside that, and it has all the areas where it's located, when it registered, and you can see we have all of these malicious websites that go ahead and use the same name, almost the same name, but a smart person can easily understand that. But still, this one is very easy to understand. But when you go ahead and try use websites such as, which is secure website HTTPS, and you use as cert.microsoft.com or secure or MSNDCC or IOC, it's sometimes hard to understand, and you directly go ahead and use that. So we can see we have different types of located over here. So you need to use more than one tool to obtain the network information, as sometimes a single tool is not capable of delivering the information that you want. So that is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial I'll be teaching you as to determining the operating system and how we can go ahead and use that in gathering our range of IP address. And finally, by the end of the day, I'll be teaching you how which tools are available in Kali Linux, and I'll show you some practical live examples as to how we can go ahead and gather information only via Kali Linux and not using any of these tools which are outside of Kali Linux. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So far we have collected information about, but just before I proceed, in the previous tutorial I taught you about the whois and the DNS lookup. So far we have collected information about IP addresses, network range, server names, and etc. of the target network. But now it's time to find out the OS running on the target network, the technique of obtaining information about the target network OS, and it is called as OS fingerprinting. So if you remember properly, then I showed you, let me just open it, I showed you a different tool over here which gathers information about OS, and it's given over here as OS fingerprinting. And the best part of this, which I normally use, would be Nmap or the ZenMap. And I'll show you one example. I won't be teaching you as to how we actually go ahead and do that. I'll be teaching you that later on by the end of this tutorial. So I'll just open my another operating system and I'll just power it on. There are different tools except Kali Linux that allows you to gather information, although Kali Linux has a better one. But still, if you are not using Kali Linux for some reason, then there is a netcraft.com site, and you can go ahead and type the domain name of your target network in and which site it's running, and it will give you the domain name along with the operating system running on it. So I'll just go ahead and show you one example for that. Okay, and since we don't need, okay, let's take a look, and I'll just go ahead and type out over here, search, let's check Microsoft.com. Let's check if I'm able to get that. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, we have Microsoft.com, which works on NetBlock ECMA International, and it was first seen on August 1995, and they are using operating system Linux. And for go.microsoft.com, we have Windows Server 2012, and I believe this one may be the Unix server system because it's unknown, and that's what happens when you use a Unix operating system. it is unable to detect because it's not Linux or Windows. That's the reason. Then as you can see that we have all the names of operating system and that they are using currently right now. So this is just an example, but you can do the same thing using Kali Linux as well. And there is another search engine which is quite famous, which is the Shodan search engine. I'll just type Shodan HQ. Okay, perfect. So you can use Shodan search engine that lets you find specific computers using a variety of filters. So to give you an example, I'll just show you here. I believe we need to sign up for that. Okay, let's search. Okay, let me type Microsoft and let's see what we get. Okay, so let me check. Okay, so as you can see, we have these services running on Microsoft, and these are the top countries using them. If I want, I can go ahead and filter these by services. So let's check. If I want HTTP, then I'll just go and search for port 80, and let's see, we don't have any port 80 over here open. So let's check if you could get the FTP open. No. Then this proves that Microsoft is quite secure, and it won't be anything easy for us to go ahead and hack over there. Perfect. If I just go ahead and type Microsoft. Perfect. If I check the HTTP one, none. HTTPS. Perfect. So this shows that Microsoft is quite secure since we are unable to get any open ports in that. But if you go ahead and check some random or newly developed website, then they may not be that strong and they may give you out open ports, and if you find the open port, then you already have a jackpot for that, and you can easily go ahead and gather as much information that you want. So this is one example, but we also have traceroute, and finding the route of the target host is necessary to test against the MITM attacks. And MITM means man in the middle attack, and it is also called as monkey in the middle attacks and other relative attacks. Therefore, you need to find the route of the target host in the network. This can be accomplished with the help of traceroute utility provided with most operating systems, and even Windows has that. It allows you to trace the path or the route through which the target host packets travel in the network. Traceroute uses the ICMP protocol concept and the TTL, that's time to live field, of the IP header to find out the path of the target host in the network. The traceroute utility can detail the path IP packets travel between two systems. It can trace the number of routers, the packets that travel through, the round trip time during the duration in transiting between two routers, and if the routers have DNS entries, name of the routers, and the network affiliation, as well as the geographic location. So this is quite useful for an hacker, and much more than I can say as useful, because they almost will have all the details. And it sends out a packet for the destination specified. So, and this utility helps to reveal the IP address of the intermediate hops in the route of the target host from the source. So I'll show you an example. Let's check if I can run this over here. And so let's go ahead and ACERT tracert 216.239.36.10. Okay, tracert, it's unable to recognize that. Let me check. Okay, let me check. I believe I need to start that as the administrator. Perfect. And if I'm going to check, let me check. Okay, perfect. So I'll just type tracert 216.239.36.10. So let's check how many hops do we get. And just if you don't know, 216.239.36.10 is the trace is the address of ns3.google.com, just in case you don't know. So let's check the total of 30 hops and how much do we get. As you can see, these are the IP addresses as to and the fourth one got timed out. So this shows that from which IP address and from how it is actually traveling. And what a hacker might do is that the first router in the path receives the packet, it decrements the TTL value, that's time to live value, by 1, and if the resulting TTL value is 0, it discards the packet and sends a message back to the originating host to inform it that the packet has been discarded. The same thing that happened over here when the request was timed out. And it records the IP address and the DNS of that router and sends out another packet with a TTL value of 2. This packet makes it to the first router, then times out at the next router in the path, and this second router also sends an error message back to the originating host. Traceroute continues to do this, and it records the IP address and the name of each router until a packet finally reaches the target host, or until it decides that the host is reachable. And yeah, it does the process in that way. So in this process, it records the time it took for each packet to travel the round trip to each router, and finally when it reaches a destination, the normal ICMP ping response will be sent by the sender. That's what it happened when Google.com sent it back over here. As you can see that these are the milliseconds that it took for it to go ahead and respond. So we have seen how the traceroute utility helps you to find out the IP address of the intermediate device such as routers, firewalls, etc. present between the source and destination. You can draw the network topology diagram by analyzing the traceroute results as well. And after running several traceroutes, you will be able to find out the location of a particular hop in the target network, and that's how it will work. So there are different traceroute tools as well. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing with Kali Linux. So in the previous tutorial we took a look at traceroute, and it has different tools and different ways to gather information about IP addresses, OS fingerprinting via tools which are outside of Kali Linux, not inside. And I will be teaching you the different tools that we have inside Kali Linux. But so far we have discussed various techniques of gathering information either with the help of online resources or tools. But now I will discuss footprinting through social engineering, that is the art of grabbing information from people by manipulating them. And this section will cover the social engineering concept and techniques used to gather information. So social engineering is the art of convincing people to reveal confidential information. Social engineers depend on the fact that people are unaware of their valuable information and they are very careless about protecting it. So although some people say that social engineering is a totally non-technical process, I don't agree with that. What you would need to go ahead and do some social engineering attack would be at least the basic knowledge of whatever information you're trying to gather, may it be the credit card or debit card passwords or the company information or anything. You need to have information about that, and you need a lot of confidence to talk about that so that the person in front of you thinks you're genuine. So social engineering is an attack in which the attacker tricks the person and obtains confidential information about the target in such a way that target is unaware of the fact that someone is trying to steal the information. The attacker actually plays a very you can say a cunning game with the target to obtain confidential information. The attacker takes advantage of the helping nature of people and their weakness to provide confidential information. So however, there can be different ways of social engineering attack. In the previous days there was a great hacker, his name was Kevin Mitnick. I'll just go ahead and show you out his profile. He was the best he's the best hacker of all time, and he was a phisher. Phisher means he mostly used to do phishing attacks by calling people and telling them that I am this guy, and he stole n number of amounts, billions of dollars, but later on he was caught by the FBI and he was incarcerated. But after 5 years when he came back, he started his own security agency, and now he's a very good security consultant. So you can go ahead and watch his tutorials at DEF CON, and he's quite good. He's if you go ahead and even search the best hacker in the world, the first name would be that would come is of Kevin Mitnick. And he's the best social engineer that this world has ever had, I can say you that, because as you can see, I'll just go take you through Wikipedia. So as you can see that in 1999 he was convicted of various computer crimes, and he was the most wanted hacker in the United States. So Zimperium, if you don't know what Zimperium is, the latest hacking tool for an Android operating system, and I myself did not knew that Kevin Mitnick made that. Previously it was named as DSploit, and now it's known as Zimperium. And it is a Fisher attack. It is an application to go ahead and do phishing attack. I can continue. I want to continue. Okay. How do I continue? Let's check. Okay. Although it may show that there are differences, there is nothing, because the reason being that DSploit, as you can see, that it has merged with Zimperium Xanthi 2, which is as of now free, and Zimperium is very good in fact, but I would officially support DSploit, even though Zimperium is quite better than DSploit. The reason being that it does not have an offline version, which I can do by using the DS, which is an offline version. So okay, perfect. So this was developed by Kevin Mitnick, and yep. So he was the best hacker of all time. He used to just let's say, for example, he used to just call and tell them, hey, I'm calling you from this company, and due to this reason your card was blocked or your card was hacked, so can you just help me? And he will not even ask you the total let's say your card number. He will just go ahead and ask you the last 4 digits, or just your CVV number, and he will gather the first few digits from somewhere else, or he will call sometime later on, or some weeks later on, or even some months later on, and he will ask you only the first 12 digits, and he used to gather information separately. That was the best part, that no one was even bothered to think that okay, he's just asking for the only 1 or 2 parts of my whole card, and they used to simply give them out, and he hacked into several different parts, and that's how. And also this specific part in Kali Linux, I'll just go ahead and show it out to you. It was developed by Kevin Mitnick and someone else. I believe his name is David. So I'll just go ahead and show you. He developed this social engineering toolkit, and yes, perfect. So we have these different attacks under social engineering which we can do, but these are a bit technical, and the one which I was telling you was non-technical. So to perform a social engineering attack, you first need to gain the confidence of the authorized user, and then trick him or her into revealing confidential information. The basic goal of social engineering attack is to obtain required confidential information, and then use the information for hacking attempts such as gaining unauthorized access to the system, identity theft, industrial espionage, and many more. So social engineering can be performed in many ways, such as eavesdropping, shoulder surfing, dumpster driving, impersonation on social engineering attacks, and so on. So collecting information using eavesdropping, shoulder surfing, and dumpster driving is quite different, which normally you won't do, but that is also quite very risky. That's why people normally use these days machine shredder to go ahead and shred all of the documents before they actually go ahead and put it in the garbage. Eavesdropping is just going ahead and listening to some people's conversation. It can be either by going near to them or by using any other techniques, such as through phones or hacking into their phones or webcams and camera. And the best part of is that you can do all of these things with the use of Kali Linux. You don't need to call them, you don't need to do anything, and you can go ahead and hack into their webcam, or you can go ahead and create fake websites like phishing attacks only by going ahead and using the Kali Linux. After that, we have dumpster driving. Dumpster driving is also known as trashing, where the attacker looks for the information in the target company's dumpster. The attacker may gain vital information such as phone bills, contact information, financial information. And you are wondering that how dumpster diving can be useful. It can be something like this. Let's say for your company has a lot of let's say IT bills, or not IT bills exactly. Let's say due to some reason you have purchased a new hardware, and you have just thrown out the receipt or the box of the hardware that you have brought. Not now, or it can be also later on after the warranty has passed of that specific object, but your company is still using it, And if the hacker goes into your dumpster saying that, hey, I am this guy from this company, I have to collect your garbage, and if he searches your company and if he finds that, okay, this is the package, that means this company has these kinds of hardware, so what he may do the next day, he may just go ahead and wear a getup that looks similar to IT hardware of the same person of that company, the companies whose hardware you have brought. He may just come to your company stating that, okay, I'm this guy from this company, and I was given a call stating that your network or your hardware has some issues. So, and you may even let him inside your company. You won't even ask him twice, because people are not that secure in terms of going ahead and searching or asking someone else whether you are real or not. So when you come in a person dressed in with a name of or tag of with the company's name on your shirt, they will just let you inside, and you can just go and talk to the IT guy, let him know that these are the issues that I was called for. Just fake it out anything with the basic knowledge of IT. Just go ahead and attach a keylogger, and everything that you have inside the computer will be accessed by the hacker. He won't even need to install a software keylogger. He can even just use a hardware keylogger, and you will not even be able to see if his hands are quite fast enough. So that's how dumpster diving can be dangerous. So these all things come inside social engineering, and though footprinting to social engineering networking sites sound similar to social engineering, there are some differences between the two methods. Attackers can even use social networking sites as a medium to perform social engineering attacks, and I'll show you how using Kali Linux. So I'll just show you an example quickly. So I have these SE toolkit on. I'll use website attack printers and credential harvester method. I'll show you what exactly I'm doing later on, and let me check my companies. I'll be explaining this later on. So this is my IP address. I'll just copy and I'll just paste, and it's asking me the URL to pull. Let's say, for example, I'll be using a Facebook, a random profile that I have. So I'll just use a random fake Gmail that I have. So I'll just type Gmail. Okay, let it start. Perfect. So I'll just copy all of this and I'll just paste it over here. I'll hit enter. So what it is doing exactly is that it is creating a fake phishing account that you could go ahead and send someone. And yes, I want to start the process, and I'll just keep this on, and let's say, and what you need to do is just send this IP address to the person of whom you want to hack. So, and once you do that, everything he or he will do, you will be able to see that. So I'll just go ahead and show it out to you. Let's say, for example, I'm using this different PC over here. I'm this random guy, and I'll just type. And what I would be doing, I would be trying to access the Facebook account, the Gmail account. And so what I need to do is that I just need to send a mail to this person on his email ID stating that due to some reason your account will be deactivated or any random stuff. So you need to go ahead and log in on this specific IP address so that you can go ahead and let's say access your account or something like that. You just need to go ahead and social engineer your way through it, and once that guy clicks on that, it will be something like http:// and I'll just check what was the IP address. 192.168.236. 92.168.36. Sorry, 236.130. Let's check. Perfect. So when this guy opens this account, he will see exactly something similar, which is similar to Gmail, and you can see that it has everything. And if I go ahead and try to log in, so I have some random account that I'll show you, or if let me check if I could go ahead and, so what this random guy will do, he will just try to go ahead and try to access this website. So no, and ask me later. And it won't connect. The reason being that I have not yet the password I inserted was a fake one. But if I inserted the correct password, what will happen is I'll show you over here. And as you can see, we have the email ID that I used over there, and we have the password. So this is a way as to how we can go and get information. Although this password was fake one that I used, but if the guy inserted the correct password or whatever his latest password was, will be shown over here. So this is an example for that, and I'll just go ahead and close this and this as well. So this is how a social engineering looks like. If you don't know how I did all of these things, because it might be a bit quick, I'll show you all of these things later on when I come to the total social engineering part of this chapter. So social networking sites are online services. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in the previous tutorial, I taught you about creating a fake Gmail website, and it's not only about Gmail. You can go ahead and create any such website that you want, and you can go ahead and create any account that has login page inside that, so it won't have any problem. So social networking site, but there is something different from social engineering, which is social networking sites. And social networking sites are online services, platforms, or sites that allow people to connect with each other and to build social relations among people. The use of social networking sites is increasing rapidly. Example: Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn, and attackers may take advantage of these to grab sensitive information. And these sites allow people to stay connected with others, to maintain professional profiles. And the companies may post information such as potential partners, or they will create fake accounts and they will try to gather information from you via social networking websites. So for an attacker, these social networking sites can be great sources to find information about the target person or the company. These sites help an attacker to collect the information uploaded by the person or the company, and attackers can easily access public pages of these accounts on the sites. To obtain more information about the target, attackers may create a fake account and use social engineering to lure the victims reveal more information. For example, the attacker can send a friend request to a target person from a fake account. If the victim accepts the request, then the attacker can access several even the restricted pages of the target person on that website. So social engineering sites can prove to valid information resource for attackers. So this is just one part and of how they can go ahead and use these your profiles against. So the hackers can also go ahead and use what you upload, what you update your status against you. So let's say, for example, if you want to try to get into your computer, access some website or insert keylogger, and if you are some, let's say, manager or something like that, and if you post something like, today I'm in this state enjoying over here, then he may come to know that okay, you're not in the country or you're not in the state. He may come to your house, or if he's some kind of random, let's say, burglar, he may even try to go ahead and rob your house. So next time you go ahead and update any status, you need to know what information that you're updating and if these information can be harmful for you. And the attacker can collect all this information with the footprinting process. And if these are not the only thing, there are several other things that a hacker can use against you. I have taught you about Facebook, how they can go ahead and use your own statuses against you. I can say the same about Twitter. You can even use your LinkedIn profile, because LinkedIn profile shows your whole biography, where you're working, at what time you're not home, which time you're going into the office, when you come back from the office, what work you do, so and from how many years. So the attacker or the hacker can use these information against you. If that's not enough, then we have YouTube also, which can give out information. So they can check which are the most websites you have visited, how many views you go ahead and watch, how many videos you watch, what kind of videos you watch. And if he sees that you like to watch a lot of videos about small kittens, then he may send you a same virus or a Trojan or a backdoor via mail, stating that, oh, this kitten is so cute, and you may go ahead and try to download or click on that to watch that. And when you go ahead and try to run the video, it may just be a normal video that you see, but in the background it may transfer a virus to your PC, which your antivirus or your AV might not be able to detect, and he will be inside your computer. So YouTube allows you to YouTube is also a website that allows you to upload, view and share videos, and the attacker can search the videos related to the target, and he may collect information from them as well. So tracking users on social networking sites. So in order to protect themselves yourselves from fraud and attacks, people with little knowledge about internet crimes may use fake identities on social networking website. In such cases, you will not get the exact information you need about the target user. So determine the real identity of the user. You can use tools such as get someone's IP or IP grabber to track someone's real identity. So I'll show you an example or where you can get and my IP test and just static iptest.com / static pages. Perfect. So you can go ahead and try this tool to get information about this person. Notice there are 3 fields over here: link for the person, redirect URL and link for you. So to get the real IP of the target, copy the generated link of the link for person field and send it to your target via chat. Enter the URL you want the target to redirect to in the redirect a link over here, and open the URL present in the link for you field in another window to monitor the target's IP address and the additional details. So by doing this, you will get the real IP address of the victim, and I don't need to tell you what a hacker can do if he gets your real IP address. So these are some concepts of footprinting threats, methodology, tools. But now comes the part of footprinting countermeasures, how you can go ahead and save themselves. So there is a program in which you can go ahead and gather information, but just gathering information is never good enough. You need to go ahead and save this information in one place, so that when you save this information, all of these things connect. Let's say the domain name system, the IP address, what you do, where you go, these all will interconnect and give you a final idea as to what to do. So yes, there comes the most important operating system that we have as of now would be Kali Linux, and we have a tool named as Maltego, which I'll just go ahead and open it. This is one of the best tools that was ever created, because it goes ahead and gives you out, or it goes ahead and saves all the information that you need, and it will give you out any, you can say, as a proper way of to gather information. I have not. I'll just go ahead and register, create a random ID later on, and I will register, but as of now I'll just go ahead and show you. So this is the how it looks like. You can go ahead and open a new one and start gathering information about any person that you want over here. You have updates available later on. No. Okay, so as you can see that this is the Maltego carbon that I'm using of Paterva. Paterva is the community that supports Maltego. I can go ahead and take a look as to where I want to entity selection, or I want a single person's link. I can manage and organize different information. So Maltego is a program that can be used to determine the relationship and real-world links between people, groups of people, companies, organization websites, internet infrastructure, phases, documents, and files. So Maltego is an open source intelligence and forensics application. It can be used for information gathering phase of all security related work. It is a platform developed to deliver a clear threat picture to the environment or to the organization that owns and operates. It can be used to determine the relations between persons and companies using the domains, DNS systems, DNS names, net blocks, IP addresses, documents, files, and many more. So there are different tools similar to that, but this is the best one that I have come across. And yes, so there are different tools such as www.domainpunch.com, and Maltego is also available for Mac users as well if you wish to download. And there are other footprinting tools such as Web Data Extractor. You can go ahead and visit their website if you want. So I'll just go ahead and show you these websites. It will be Web Extractor. Okay. So this is the website, and I believe they have started selling these things. But you can always get a free version by using the torrent, and even you have the non-pro version, which you can do a lot of things without that. And this is just simplified user interface and has Unicode support, whereas this does not. So it does not make actually uh, a better one. So you can anytime use the normal version and without supporting it. But I would ask you to go and support this, because yes, that's what we need. So the different tools, as I told you, Prefix, Whois, NetScan Tools, Pro, TC Trace, Anonymous Scanner, DNS Digger, and a lot of additional tools are there online which you can go ahead and check. And yes, that would be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be starting with more with practical examples by using the Cal Linux and its tools, and how we can go ahead and use these information to go ahead and attack a specific user. But before I start with that part, I would like to introduce you to some footprinting countermeasures, so that if you are the target yourself and someone is targeting you, then how do you need to go ahead and save yourself? So you could do that anytime by starting to configure routers to restrict the responses to footprinting requests. You can lock the ports with suitable firewall configuration. Evaluate and limit the amount of information available before publishing it on internet or website, and disable the unnecessary services. You can prevent search engines from caching a web page and use anonymous registration services. You can configure web servers to avoid information leakage and disable unwanted protocols. You can even use an IDS, that's intrusion detection system, that can be configured to refuse suspicious traffic, and you can pick up footprinting upon them so that you will know who the attacker is. You can perform footprinting techniques and remove any sensitive information that is found under your system. So there are footprinting measures. You can set apart internal DNS and external DNS, disable the directory listing, and use split DNS. Educate your employees about various social engineering tricks, because there is a famous quote on that you can go ahead and patch a software or a system, but there is no patch for human tendency or human stupidity. So no matter how much secure your environment may be, these are always people. So you need to train your employees as to how they can be targets to social engineering attacks, because even if you patch your system, if your employees are weak, then any hacker can easily gain access to that just by talking to your employee. And always have multiple passwords to a particular important system, and always use the TCP/IP and IPsec filters, and always configure the IIS against banner grabbing, so that it will be easier for you to go ahead and save your information, and the attacker, he will find it hard to go ahead and try to get access to any specific thing that's related to you. And the final thing would be footprinting via penetration test, and that I would be starting with the next tutorial. So this would be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be showing you all these things which I taught you yesterday and day before yesterday. I'll be putting that inside one Cal Linux, and I'll be teaching you as to how we can go ahead and use that. So that's it for this tutorial. Let's take a look at next tutorial now. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing. We would be doing some practical live examples and live tests in this tutorial, and this is where the actual ethical hacking starts. And these are the practical things. So the first thing that you would need would be you need to configure your Windows 7 as well as Kali Linux. I'll just go ahead and open it and make sure that they both have internet access. Just in case, not just in case, you would be needing them, and make sure that you have configured them as the network as NAT. I'll just go ahead and show it to you. Make sure that you have NAT and not a bridged or host only custom LAN. I don't want any of these, because you won't be able to connect to internet or even the LAN connection that is there between these two. And make sure that even Cal Linux has the same. And I just need to go ahead and install the VMware tool server here, which I did not. So I'll just go ahead and install them first. Okay, I did that in Cal Linux, but over here I forgot, so I'll just go ahead and install. Make sure that you have all of these things ready: updated Cal Linux, and your Windows 7 version, and VMware tools installed in both of them. Typical, perfect. I'll just install them. And I'll just off this. I don't want any irritating messages. And yep, perfect. So now we would be looking at going ahead and gathering information. Once you have done footprinting and reconnaissance, I believe you must, so I will assume that you have the IP address by gathering information about a particular host. So what do you need to do once you have an IP address? How to gather information about what operating system it is using and what is the hardware? You can get each and every information just by using a simple application which is inside the Cal Linux. It is Nmap as well as ZenMap, and it's not only for Cal Linux or Cal Linux or Linux. It is available for even for Mac as well as Windows. So in case you're using Mac or MacBook Pro or even Windows, I'll just show you Nmap. For Windows, it is called as ZenMap, and for yes, perfect. So this is the ZenMap version, which is ZenMap is the graphical user interface, and Nmap is a command line. So I will probably use both of them to show you how it exactly works. And if you're a beginner, being a beginner, I suggest you use ZenMap because it has a good graphic user interface. It does the same thing, but Nmap is a bit more better because it is much more quicker since it is not a GUI. So here you can go ahead and gather information. Here is the intro, install guide, and everything you can go ahead and find over here. 6.47 is the latest, and here's the install guide. It's quite simple. We have it for BSD, Solaris, Apple, Windows, Linux, Unix, any operating system you name, and we have it for everything. So yes, that would be it. So let's check if I have installed. Perfect. And yes, so let me just restart it. And as you can see that we have the ZenMap version over here, Cal Linux. Okay, we have Nmap, and for ZenMap we have it over here already installed. Just let my computer start and I'll go show you as to how we can go ahead and gather information. Okay, perfect. So I'll just go and open my command prompt, and assuming that you already have the IP address, I'll just go ahead and check. Okay, so now I have done lots of footprinting, and I'll assume that you have the IP address of this specific person. That's 192.168.236 and 131. And let's check the IP address of our Cal Linux, and it is ipconfig in your Windows, and it's ifconfig in your Cal Linux or any Linux version you're using. So the IP address is 130, and over here we have 131. So I believe the gateway would be 236.2 is the gateway. It would be the same for this, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, it is the same for this. So perfect. So after I have this, I'll just go ahead and check. Okay, route now. Okay, perfect. So what I would be doing, as of now, I just have the IP address of my target machine, that is Windows 7, but I don't know it's Windows 7. I just have the IP address. That's 192.168.236 and 131. So what I would be doing, I would go over here. I'll open my ZenMap. I'll first go ahead and show you the Nmap. So you can go ahead and you need to go ahead and read all of these things. It can give you much better information than I can over here. It has all the commands that we need to go ahead and use, the IL, the IR, SL to go ahead and list ping scan. And if you're not if you're not able to find anything specific over here, then it would be better for you to go ahead and use the ZenMap version. Just you open that as well. Okay, so first thing I would like to check is I would want to go ahead and check what is my gateway IP and which all computers are there in this gateway IP. So I'll just type route. I'll just open a new one and I'll type route hyphen space hyphen n. So This is my gateway IP address 192.168.236 and 2. That means that we have the same for Cal Linux as well as my Windows 7. Now it is always the same. I just wanted to let you know. Now I'll just go ahead and type it over here. So, and just in case if you're doing the man in the middle attack and you don't have the IP address, so let me show you there is another way to go ahead and gather the IP address. If you have the same gateway, then you can just type nmap-sp and 192.168.236.2 to 254, and I'll hit enter. Let's check. Okay, sp, what is the host name? Let me check. Okay, yeah, sorry, it should be small s and capital P. So what I did over here is that since the IP address will contain a total of 254 characters or 255, I will be using 254 since I don't know how much a total of computers these are connected. I will assume that this is my only operating system and this is not a host operating system. This is the main operating system. I'm using it on a PC, and this whole PC would be my router, and this is my another operating system which is on the same gateway. So what I would do, I will go ahead and scan the gateway right now by typing this command nmap sp, and I'll open a new one and I'll show you what the sp command does. Okay, perfect. Nmap and KSN, we have what SP does is that it gathers all the IP address that we have from between 192.168.2 to 192.168.236.254. So I'll just go ahead and hit enter and let's check. Perfect. So we have all of this information. So it's showing that there are a total of 4 hosts on this, and it will also be showing my own version. So let me check which is my own operating system. My IP address is 192.168.130. So this means this will be cancelled since that is my PC. This one I have one more with the ending with the 254. I will cancel that as well because I won't be using that after that, because that is the final one and that is never the IP address. After that we have 2 things left, and as we know that 236.2 is my gateway. This is the last one pending, which is 0.131, and which is the IP address of my Windows 7 over here, as you can see. So now I need to go ahead and check if I need to go ahead and attack this specific PC. I need to go ahead and check what operating system is using, which updates has it installed, whether the service pack 1 or not, and depending upon that I can go ahead and attack that PC. So yes, that would be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial I'll be teaching you as to how we can go ahead and attack them and gather much more information related to them. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in the previous tutorial I showed you as to how we can go ahead and gather information using Nmap if you are on the same gateway, and if you are not on the same gateway then you can go ahead and use the DNS and the whois methods to gather the IP addresses of any specific person. As of now I'm assuming you are on the same gateway and you have the IP address the same way I told you last time. So now I want the operating system information about this specific IP address. So what I would do, I would go ahead and use my ZenMap. I'll type the IP address over here, 0.168.236.131. And as you can see, there are different types of scan over here. If you go ahead and if the operating system you are trying to get access to is related to a company, it's a big company and you're trying to get information about that, then I won't suggest intense scan or intense, neither of these things. I would not suggest that. I'll just go ahead and ask you to do a regular scan or a slow and comprehensive scan so that you don't get detected. But I will be doing you all of these scans and I'll show you what is the difference between them and the different hops between them as to how we can go ahead and connect them, how many between routers were there in between, so that through which I need to go through to go ahead and get information about that. So I'll just do intense scan It is doing a stealth scan. So these are the open ports, as you can see, of this particular PC, and I can go ahead and use any of this port to go ahead and transfer my any Trojan or any virus that I have, and it will not get detected. It will just check it as a normal traffic. As you can see, 4 service and 1 host, it's trying to go ahead and try OS detection. Can take quite a bit of time sometimes. Perfect, done. Perfect. So these were the ports open, and it started scanning for the OSS. So there are a total of 996 filtered ports, and filtered means these are firewall ports. You won't be able to enter these ports, but these are the ports which are open. Out of these 996, excluding these 996, these are 4 ports which are open through which you can go ahead and access them. That's Windows Microsoft RPC and Windows HTTP API, and these are the 2 NetBIOS SSN. But if you're using Windows 8, let me suggest you that these would be all filtered out and there will not be any port open if you have an updated version of Windows 8.1. But still, there can be ways you can social engineer your way through that. As you can see, the MAC address is of VMware. It's specifically showing that. If you don't know which company's MAC address this is, you can just copy it over here. And if it is related to a specific PC, then you can go over the internet and you can check. MAC address, and yes, you can go ahead and check it over here. You can find the company lookup and you can just type the IP address. Probably it will not be able to find. Yeah, it's perfect. That means anything starting with 000C29 is of VMware. If I go ahead and check it over here, okay, I need to go down through system. And over here I can see, so this will give you an idea of which hardware is the person using exactly. I'm getting VMware over here, but if since I'm using a virtual PC, but if the person has an actual hardware which is not a VMware, which is an actual computer, then you will get the detailed information. So let me just check the MAC ID, and I'll go ahead and copy this MAC ID over here that we have, and I will paste it over here in this portion. So what I would do, I'll just cancel, I'll just go open over here and I'll check. I need to go ahead and check the MAC ID. So I believe we have the MAC ID over here. Okay, IPv6 address, perfect. We have the MAC ID. So I'll just type it over here, FC-AA-14-5E-64, and let's check what we get. Perfect. It has the Gigabyte Technology and Company Limited. So if you want more information, you can just go ahead and compare it, and you can check it over here. And you will be able to confirm which exactly it is. Since this is a Gigabyte Technology, you can see my system manufacturers Gigabyte Technology Company Limited. So in this way, you can get the you can go ahead and at least narrow down your hardware area as to which exactly it is using. And where you have the hardware right now, you need to go know which operating system is the person using. So you don't need to go ahead and gather much information about that, because you already have that. Once you do Nmap scanning, it will show you that it's general purpose for phone or a normal system. And but you know it's not a phone since it has Gigabyte Technology. That means it's a computer and it's not a virtual PC. And you can see it has Windows version 8 or Phone or Vista or 7. It can be either of these, but since it's using Gigabyte Technology, it cannot be Phone or Vista because no one uses Vista as of now, yes, frankly. So it will be a Windows 2008 server or a Windows 7. So but over here again, these are the things, as you can see. but again it has narrowed it down a bit more, and it can be Windows 2000 and R2 or Windows Phone, which is not. So I'll just cancel these things out. This is out, and we have so it can be Windows Server SP Pack 1 or Windows 7 or any of versions. And this operating system was last started on May 13, that's today, at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. So you have the date, since how much time it is up, and it's just one hop. That means there are no computers in between. These are connected directly. If I'm connecting it through internet, then there will be multiple computers through all the routes through which I'm going, and it will show me through the fish eye as to where exactly my computer is by connecting it to several computers. And as you can see, we have the TCP sequence prediction, that is 263. That means we can easily go ahead and penetrate into that. Again, operating system is Windows, and we have all the information that we need. So the computer name was test user, since the name of my computer over here was, I'll just go ahead and show you. This is the name of my computer is test user over here, and I have the work group. Work group was work group. I did not go ahead and change it. It is the default. This is the system time in that computer, and it has user level authentication. That means it has a password, and I can also go ahead and try to message sending is disabled, since I won't be able to access it over network. But so that means I need to go ahead and extract it separately. So this is how it looks like. So I'll just go ahead and clear it out. So I'll just go ahead and start with an intent scan plus UDP scan. I'll just go ahead and close and open since I would be perfect, and I'll be doing intense plus UDP scan, and let's see what would be the difference. So UDP scan shows us from which we can go ahead and transfer files like let's say pictures or songs with virus inside that, or any trojans or any backdoors inside that. So it will be showing all the ports which through which we can go ahead and transfer the user datagram protocol. Just open another ZenMap, and I will be doing another. Okay. And I'll be doing the TCP, all TCP port scan. This is quite noisy, and if you're trying to do this into company's computer, the administrator will easily be able to detect that someone is trying to go ahead and get a footprint of your computer, and he may at the same point go ahead and throw you out of his network. So you need to be very careful where you're going to use this specific all TCP port scan. And 60%, 0.6% done. All the 1000 ports have been checked over here. %% is done, 59% is done. Let it run through. All TCP ports is quite, you can see, it's quite faster than any other one, but because it is since it's very noisy, it will not go undetected, and if you do just the UDP scan, it will go undetected, and that's why it is it is quite slower than the normal one. So the service stealth scan is completed, and we have the service scan started right now. Voice detection has started. We are still on 0.6% over here. Okay, 3.5% done. Perfect. So I'll just go ahead and cancel this, and because it will take quite a long time, and I'll go ahead and show you how you can go ahead and ping scan. It's just to check whether the operating system is still active or not. Okay, perfect, it's done. So you can see that this host is currently up since and instead of using just this, you can also go ahead and do the same thing over here. You can type SP and you can go ahead and check the same thing, and you can hit enter. ZenMap does the same thing as Nmap, it's only that it has a graphic user interface and Yes, it's using SN over here rather than SP, and it's showing you all the IP addresses of all the things that are active. Perfect. So we have it over here again. OS scan may be unreliable because they were unable to find one open and one closed port, but it did find lots of information that we can use. And same one hop. IP ID is incremental. That means with new every operating system, only one IP address will increase. It means that Kali Linux has 0.130, it has 131. So it has 131, and if there is an next operating system on the LAN, it will get 132. So IP address is incremental. And these are the flags over here for test user and workgroup ID. We have the computer name, workgroup, again SMB level security, and it has also trace routed. So you don't need to additionally download any specific scripts or application files to go ahead and gather information. This is how Nmap looks like. So similarly, there are ping scan, as I told you over here. We have quick scan, and let's try to check a quick trace route and how it looks. And it will show you from where it is exactly going through. This is the MAC ID of all of these things. It's the same as doing this, but it will also give you since when what is the best latency to go ahead and reach them. So this has 17 seconds latency. Perfect. After that, we have regular scan, and I'll go ahead and use the slow and comprehensive scan, which I would probably not be completing. So I'll just go ahead and complete this till then. Okay, perfect. So the regular scan shows us all the information that 999 ports are closed, which is quite different from the previous where we got 996. That means it was not able to clearly go ahead and check all the ports. 996, perfect. Filter ports out of 999, 3 ports open, and 3 ports are open and the remaining are closed. That means they are filtered out by the firewall, and the host is up. So you won't be able to get the operating system information over here, and there are 253 IP addresses. Total of 4 hosts are open and they can change. So this is how you can go ahead and gather information via Nmap or ZenMap. And this is not just it, there are much more things, but I won't be able to show you. If you want to go ahead and gather much more information, you can just type Nmap and you can go ahead and read over here all the information that you need. You will get everything from OS detection to trace routing and everything. And if you're unable to use Nmap, you can also anytime use the ZenMap, which is quite more easy to use. And if you're and since over here in the previous one we were not able to actually gather much more information about the host operating system, you can use an aggressive scan over here. As you can see, OSS scan, and it will show you the exact operating system. That means whether it's Windows 7 or 8 or phone, it will give you the exact operating system that it has. And but it will be, since it is aggressive, the person having the computer will come to know if he has IDS installed, or the administrator will easily come to know about this. So that is it about Nmap in this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I will be starting with the harvester, the whois, and the DNS enum as to how we can go ahead and use them.